hi Ootori. Hello everybody. All 5 of you. Man, I feel like there's more and more people like waiting around now. All right,
I mean, that's a good sign.
I mean, yeah, usually. All right, you two go ahead. Fight over who gets to go first.
Hi, my name is Sugimoto Miya. Oh damn, I thought you were gonna like you were gonna introduce yourself. I thought we would interrupt each other.
Oh.
Well, oh god, it's echoing a little bit. Oh no, it's fine. But yes, hi, I'm Miyu. I stream on Twitch. You know, drawing, games, all that fancy stuff. Not too interesting, but yeah.
Not too interesting, she says.
Not too interesting. What a way to pitch yourself.
I'm sorry.
You're really selling yourself here, Miyu.
Yeah, it's just like imagine putting that on your resume, right? You're just like,
I'm not too interesting. Sorry.
Can you just tell our company like what we gain by hiring you? Nothing. I'm not really interested.
I'm gonna nap in the break room.
I mean, I'll
yeah,
just
I'm
be
eat all
there.
office snacks.
I'll be there. You know, I'll just kind of hang out sometimes. You know, I can help you guys like. I can like move things from one room to another.
The mascot character, emotional support.
Yeah, exactly. Emotional support.
Okay. All right, what about you, big guy?
I am Wim. I am the lamest streamer in existence. Do not watch my content.
Oh, are we fighting for this title?
What's wrong with the both of you?
Yeah.
Are we fighting for this title?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. No, I'm Wim. 8-ton Wim channel. I stream here on YouTube. The superior platform. No offense,
superior platform.
You know, game streams, Gundam building streams, dumb karaoke streams. Sometimes I make anime videos. So,
oh,
you know the
god.
joke.
The latest video you put
soon,
out,
right?
it was the worst thing ever.
Oh yes,
I'm so angry.
My KA video was fantastic. Don't listen to
no.
Don't listen to anything. Don't read the comments. Just watch it.
No, okay. So I went into that thinking this guy's stealing my Music Monday, right? He's got a 4.5 minute like talk about the KDA pop stars.
Oh,
and all
this
that.
is a fucking video.
Yeah. And so hold on, don't spoil the surprise here. I'm all into it, right? Oh yeah. Look at him all pleased with himself. Wipe that smug grin off your face. God, no. I start watching it and I'm like, okay, I see. All right, it's the lights and then it happens.
And then it happens.
I literally look through the whole rest of the video waiting for something else, and it didn't.
It never came. The sweet release.
Wim is objectively more boring.
My goodness.
You talking about? Oh god. Okay. Well, so as you guys might have noticed, we're also missing Weeb, which Hebe contacted me well in advance, saying that she was busy with a lot of other stuff, and wouldn't be able to make the stream this week or next week. Which and there she is in chat. See, she even still showed up to the stream.
Hebe. Oh, Hebe sent something in the Discord. Nobody holds Scratch's hand until I'm back, or I'll eat you. Yeah, see, there she goes. There she goes.
Oh yeah. So I mean, Hebe told me well in advance what was going on, and that's cool. Weeb, I'm pretty sure he's asleep. Like, real talk, I'm so positive that he's just like napping or something. So I'm kind of at a loss here. We've kind of talked about what we'll do instead. I do want to start the first session, which I imagine why most of you are here. So the deal is after an hour, if he doesn't show up, we're going to start the game anyways. I have a number of ways to bring in late characters as it stands. How is Wim moving? I am magic. Actually, really, it's Jupiter's fault. Last Thursday, no, actually yesterday, this happened yesterday. God, I'm retarded. Okay, yeah. Yesterday I was on Jupiter's stream and she showed me a super secret way for multiple people to move on the same stream, like beyond reactive PNGs. So now instead of just standing there menacingly like Miyu over here,
Thanks.
Well, it's just whenever you're not talking, you're kind of just staring straight at the screen. You're
You know what?
looking
I
at
can
my.
make noise. I can be like meh 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 meh.
Oh, I think that's
Meh,
kind of
meh, meh.
weird in its own right, TBH. But yeah, we got Wim and his stupid rings to move.
Yeah, I'm making sure you're doing your work. I'm making sure everyone's on task.
It's game night. What the heck? This is where everybody gets off of work and hangs out.
Work never ends.
Mo-
Yeah, we
most-
used to ditch our meetings.
Yeah,
Just
most
playing
people
fucking
people
D&D.
drink it during D&D. Now, I don't drink during D&D. I don't like it when people drink during D&D. However, it happens. Evie has to pass her exam so she gets 9 tails.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Should I put the
Badge
bottle
of
away
honor.
then?
But the,
Oh my god, I can hear it.
no.
Mind if I have just a little bit? May
That was a good sound.
Kagerou,
That was
please.
really good.
Oh my god, fine. Get on with it, you freaking alcoholic.
I gotta do like a drum.
Hey, I
break.
have nothing. I have my water. Listen.
This is
Okay.
drink
Water.
ASMR. I don't have anything. I drank all the Beepus at Jupiter's.
Oh yeah, you did. Rest in peace.
I ran out of Beepus.
So what? Do we just kind of hang out here until for like an hour?
No,
Or...
I mean we can, but there are things that we can do. Let
Nice.
me move over. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Okay. Let me scroll this out. Okay. What we're going to do is we are going to move the screen over. Heavy ate Weeb, and that's why he's not here. Please don't eat player characters. It's a big pain. I mean, I can roll up NPCs pretty easily, but it's just like not ideal. Okay. So we're gonna swap to our gaming room.
The game room.
Oops, I forgot to keep the BGM going. Okay, so, haha, Mendoza. All right, so as you guys can see, let me get Weeb out of here too. So as you guys can see, I have another icon here. Now, none of the players have met this character yet, but he will be with them on the caravan. They are a mysterious NPC that's more or less just made for when a player's missing. They kind of fulfill like a very generalist role. So I wanted to point everybody's attention to the fact that this person exists. We'll talk about them a little bit, but mostly I want to talk about you guys' characters and why you're here at the start of the session. Now, I've already explained this to you outside of the game, but for those that do not know, the game starts in a place called Greenest. It's right here. Technically, it starts right outside of the Greenest, but the idea is that from Waterdeep into Baldur's Gate, there's a caravan that goes all the way down into Amn, which is a nomadic trading city-state. And at some point or another in this caravan, you guys got hired. Maybe you were bodyguards, maybe you did something else, maybe you're also merchants as part of the caravan. Whatever that reason may be, you're traveling with these guys. And so it's up to you to figure out what that reason is. So we'll start with Wim, since you take up a whole quarter of my screen.
Yes. Well, I don't really appreciate being kicked off to the far corner,
Oh
but
my
I suppose we'll have to deal with it. So reasoning for why I am going to Greenest. So the general reason is that earlier in my character's backstory, while traveling from Baragost up to Baldur's Gate, I was rescued from bandits by a monk named Leosin Erlanthar, and so I have a bit of a debt to repay. So after my many years spent, in Baldur's Gate working with the Tinkers Guild, I returned to Candlekeep, and there a year later I received an urgent message from Leosin asking me to meet him in a small town called Greenest in the southeast. So at that point, I set off south along the coastway, and I'm Greenest bound.
All right. So you've been with the caravan since Baldur's Gate. How about you, Mia?
Well, I've been with the caravan since Candlekeep ish, or
okay.
Baraghost. Yeah.
See, this is where I say I don't know, which is I feel like it's very bad because I feel like I should have something.
It's not
No.
it's not terrible. I mean that's why we're gonna set aside time that we've tactically bought us, for this reason. Okay, so we established that you were from Waterdeep, right? Or at least you spent a good amount of time there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we'll scroll up. And Waterdeep is where about the caravan would have started. It's the start of a lot of caravans. Especially because the Sword Coast in general, and especially Waterdeep, is basically the like global home of adventurers everywhere. So you have a lot of reason. Oh, I froze. There we go. You have a lot of reasons to say that you're part of this group. Either perhaps you saw this caravan kind of start up and you thought, oh, I can jib all of these guys. It's a super long journey, and people, and the way that caravans generally work is like, you know, imagine a giant carpool where everybody's basically going the same general direction, and people come on and get off as they need to.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a pretty good way to make money. So, you know, maybe you were just like a general hand to help people move boxes, even though you're not terribly strong. Maybe you advertise yourself as universal translator as one of your little gimmicks. Even though you can't actually speak every language, you can pass off as speaking a lot of languages by basically just BSing your way through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for whatever reason, I mean, this is a big opportunity to make money. Alternatively, you could have, because you're kind of nomadic yourself, you can be really anywhere on this map and have heard of this caravan. And then decide to just pick up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't necessarily need to pick one of the Horde Bond options.
No. Those are actually just extra campaign specific options that don't exist outside of the campaign. Because the consequences only apply to the context of the campaign. Like, you know, for example, you mentioned Leosin or Lanthar. He doesn't exist outside of this adventure. Several other characters do, which is kind of funny, but he doesn't. Yeah, I don't. So what you thinking, Miyu?
I do be thinking, would this be after I drop my past life? Like, being on this caravan, would that be after I drop my past life?
Yeah. A lot of this is probably several years after you stopped traveling with a larger group of people.
Because remember how I said before that, like, oh, Scratch will rob people and then sell their things to make a living.
Right.
So I'm thinking, if this is like a caravan of like merchants, I could be posing as a merchant, you know, and try to expand my field.
Yeah. And that is totally good. I'm more or less asking like how long you've been a part of the caravan.
Okay, remind me again. How long is Waterdeep, or how far is Waterdeep from where we will begin?
Well, where you begin, okay, let me go grab my
or
ruler.
are we just kinda
so where you begin is Waterdeep, and then you go into the nation state of Amn, and the campaign very specifically does not like say how long the caravan is down there. It just comes up into Greenest after a time.
I see.
So I mean, realistically, the like, for Wim's sake, he could have been part of this caravan for a whole year if he really wanted to be. because there's no mention of how long you're in Amn. And that applies to you too, because it's a whole nation of mercantilism. However, because they're pretty nomadic and they keep to tribes, doing your shtick in Amn is pretty difficult. Most people are pretty good about keeping track of their stuff. And because everything is made more or less on the move rather than being mass produced, you end up having this issue where like you'll try and resell somebody's stuff and they'll know who made it.
See, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I don't think I would be on this caravan for long. Like, I would say maybe less than a year or like a few months.
Well, I was saying, like, I think at the minimum, the caravan, let's see, what is it, 1,200 miles to just go straight through-ish?
Well, I mean, if you follow Waterdeep and you follow the Tradeway and then branch south on the Coastway after Dragonspear, and then go down to On to the very top of On and then up to Greenest, that's almost exactly 1,200 miles.
Yeah, and for your sake, Miyu, that's... let me go kilometer. Okay, that's basically 1,930 kilometers.
I see.
Yeah, about that much.
Let's say...
Jeez.
So that would be... If you were going... If the average cart moves at basically walking or like jogging speed...
Like 3 to 5 miles per hour, right?
Yeah, 1,200 miles... And then you have to rest every night. Yeah, you're looking at... Oh, let's say...
I mean, if you are on the move at 5 miles an hour for 8 hours a day, that's what, a month?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you could, but I mean, let's be a bit more conservative and assume it's like half that distance traveled per day, right? 2 months journey from Waterdeep down to On and then back up to Greenest. Sounds about right. But then again, you know, how long people stay in one place? Do they a couple days? You know.
So I just did some quick maths. It would take 240 hours of nonstop. Which is... Wait, no, that doesn't seem right. Oh, yeah, 240 hours. And then that's 10 days. But if
well, I mean, if you're going nonstop,
not nonstop, right? But then you have to stop. You have to
so
stop.
I'd say 6 to 10 hours a day of movement is probably about average. Yeah.
Yeah.
About a work day. So anywhere from 30 to 40 days, depending on if it's 6 or 8.
Yeah. So at minimum, the caravan moves at a month, or over the course of a month. So,
I'd say maybe like.
Do you think this is a caravan that would, for example?
I'm gonna go ahead and add an extra month to that, to just being in Amn, you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
Doing some trade stuff there.
Go up. Maybe it loops.
Well, that's what's supposed to happen, but that's what's not going to happen. Yeah, you're supposed to make it back to Waterdeep, but you don't, because of campaign reasons.
Right.
So the caravan.
Yeah, so we could say they anticipate like a 3-month round trip. You know, a month to get there, about a month to there, and a month back.
So you would have been a part of this caravan at any one of those 2 months.
Sorry.
No worries.
I just got a delivery. I just got sushi. So do you mind if I eat?
Sushi.
Do you mind if I eat? Is it okay?
I don't care.
I'm
just,
gonna
I mean,
pull out some cookies because now you're making me hungry.
I'm sorry.
I at least want you to answer the question.
Okay, okay. Let me answer the question before I leave. Do you mind repeating it really quick?
So, at any point within 2 months, you would have joined the caravan. What is that point?
Jeez. It's confusing. I wish I could. I don't know. I can't
So,
wrap my head around
think-
it for some reason.
I think a better question would be, because when you join the caravan, the caravan's moving, right? It's at certain places at certain
Oh,
times.
so I will like where I.
Right. So if you say I've been with, if you want to say I joined the caravan around Waterdeep, then that you can't say, oh, I've only been with the caravan for like 10 days, right?
Right.
That means
There's no way you make it
like
all the way
a couple
down.
months or something.
If you want to say, oh, I was thinking that I would join it and try and steal things, but given your character, it wouldn't really make sense for you to stick around very long once you realize that, like Kagerou said, it's kind of hard to do it with that sort of caravan.
Mm-hmm.
You might say, oh, well, I joined it, pretty recently, like within the past 10 days.
Well, rather.
But in that case, you'd have to be in on,
It's
like you
only
have to justify
hard
why
to
you're in on.
do in that other nation state in The caravan itself
Okay.
probably doesn't care, but it's just the way
see.
that the nation of works. I don't think you could do that trick, but like if you join during Waterdeep, your trick works all the way unless somebody like Wim happens to notice.
I see.
It's just you can do that with goods made in the
Wim,
Sword
you
Coast.
better mind your own business.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see nothing, you don't say nothing.
Yeah. Goods made in the
Peach.
Sword Coast, all good. Goods made in Amn are pretty specific to the manufacturer,
I see.
so that probably doesn't work out.
Then you know what? I might as well have just joined around Waterdeep.
Okay, so you were there when the
hung out.
caravan started.
Uh-huh.
So you were kind of doing your thing for approximately 3 weeks, and then you guys would have picked up Wim.
Mhm.
Yeah, around Baragust or Candlekeep-ish.
Okay.
Does that count as answering the question? Because
No, that's exactly what I wanted to know.
Okay, give me like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I will be back.
I'll be back. Well, so while she's going about eating, what you need to decide is during this month and a half of time that you were around her, what are some things that you would be doing that she could feasibly pick up on? Let me look at her passive stats real quick.
Pick up on as in,
like
because the first thing
things that
Go
you
ahead.
would do more or less publicly. Let's look at and then let's compare your passive stealth. Sorry, I'm borrowing this. Okay. Basically, unless you were actively trying to be sneaky, anything that you do, she could pick up on if she was near you.
Right. So my thinking would be that, given the situation where she's already part of the caravan and I join in,
Right.
trying to think of a way to kind of connect us, get us together,
Well,
to form that party.
It's pretty likely that
Hello.
she might have seen. Hello. It's pretty
Well,
likely.
hold on. I want to say my idea first because it might be the same as what you could say.
All right.
I was thinking that, as somebody sort of traveling, I'm an inventor, a tinkerer. So I'll be making little things as we go, and chances are, if there's like kids in the caravan or there's people who could use a little gizmo or something, I might just kind of give that away just because I'm just practicing.
Sure.
And so my sort of headcanon about how this sort of encounter would have gone is, Miyu takes note of that, says, "Ooh, those are some shiny gadgets. I bet they're worth something. They seem to be pretty useful." And then Miyu tries to steal it. My headcanon would be that I somehow managed to catch her doing so in the act. But I'm so impressed with her ability and the fact that she likes my inventions enough to try and steal them that we sort of get along, I guess.
So
That's kind of what I was thinking.
what's really funny is passively, if none of you guys rolled anything and she wanted to steal from you, you wouldn't notice it. Because her passive stealth and sleight of hand is higher than your passive perception.
Right.
But that said,
Well, so what I was thinking was that she wouldn't just steal one thing. She steals one thing, and it's
Right.
like, oh, this is good, and she tries to steal again, but I would of course keep stock of my stuff. I
you,
know
you
something
are
is
you are
stolen,
big brain enough to know
so
that something is missing.
I would make a bait gadget that sort of sets off an alarm
I
or
see.
alerts me.
I
That's
see.
what I would think.
Okay.
So I would be
Okay,
impressed that she
cool.
was able to steal from me the first time,
Mhm.
and then I'd be able to make contact with her because she steals the booby trapped one the second time.
All
That was my
right,
thought.
and then much to the same kind of ordeal, which if that interaction is good with you, Miyu, because this kind of establishes how you guys know each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm perfectly okay with that. That's really cool.
Sick. So the same thing applies in reverse. Generally speaking, if you're not trying to be sneaky, Wim would probably be able to notice the things that you do. So go ahead and think about, like, you know, what does Scratch do in his spare time? Like, you know, does he sing songs really badly because he can only make sounds that he's heard before? You know, does he have any like particular quirks other than that he's a kleptomaniac?
Wait, is Scratch a he or a she? I've already forgotten.
Scratch is a he.
Okay.
He's a little boy.
A little tiny boy,
Yeah,
little boy.
Birdo.
Hebe is the only
Can you
girl in the
define
party.
to me as like someone who likes shiny things? I'm assuming of the sort.
Okay, so I guess like when Wim joins the caravan, maybe one of the first things he notices about you in particular is that even though you say that you're a merchant, all of your stuff is just like really fancy, but none of it, like, he's smart enough to know that it doesn't really match, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's not. It wouldn't be consistent.
You have like a bunch of these nice jewels. Oh, so this guy's a jeweler, but then you also have this like vase, and it's like, well, wait a second.
Like, it's all like random stuff.
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
really like,
Yeah.
it's not one. There's no current like theme.
Okay. So yeah, you can pretty safely piece together this is somebody that resells other stuff, which, by the way, while that is like illegal, it's not actually that big of a crime. Most people in the Sword Coast, again, because it's so adventurer centric, this kind of thing happens so commonly that, like, if you don't take good enough care of your stuff or don't like pay someone enough to like take care of it for you, you probably deserved it. Is more or less how it goes down. Because, I mean, there's like monster attacks and like bandit raids everywhere. A merchant that doesn't protect their stock probably shouldn't be a merchant, is basically how it goes. Which is why people like to travel in caravans, because you have, like, the caravan leader usually is the one that pays the guards and stuff. And merchants will pay the caravan leader, or they will barter in some other ways. Like, you know, if you're a cook, for instance, you could offer to make food for the caravan, and that would be your payment.
Or if you're a bard, you know, there's others.
Yeah. There's all sorts of ways, and, you know, like you said, when, you know, maybe the way that you paid your way on is that you just handed out cool gadgets, and people either liked them or they were useful, or, you know, whatever the reason might be. And then Miyu, of course, has all these decently expensive things that she uses as a barter, or rather Scratch uses as a barter. You know, maybe the caravan leader is like, well, what do you have? And you say, well, look at my stock. What do you want? I'll just give it to you to resell for yourself. And then he's like, poggers, let's do it. So all of this stuff is pretty normalized. So you, even though Scratch is like a weirdo, you know, you seeing this stuff it doesn't strike you as strange or odd. It's kind of screwed up, but it's sort of the way the world works. Does that all make sense? That's a question to the both of you, by the way.
Oh, I said yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I thought it was directed at me.
Oh.
All right, so now that we have you two done, we don't have the other player characters with us right now, so I'll go ahead and talk about the Wanderer. I will go ahead and push this in the show to players. I only have the edgy one-liner right here. So this is somebody that would have joined in Amn. So at some point, in kind of the more nomadic country, somebody would have offered to join. They paid in gold, and they offered to be a guard and a medic. They would have explained that they have like a limited form of healing magic, and they also have just a keen connection with the natural world. Some people say that they must be a druid or a ranger. Nobody can really say for certain, but they don't really talk much, and they kind of keep to themselves. It's very much an ordeal where they'll like sign up for like late night watches, and they take them. But usually during the day when they have nothing better to do, they just kind of sit at the rearmost part of the caravan. Is my Discord not cooperating? Is my stream going down? No.
No, your stream's still fine on
No,
my
stream
end.
is fine. I
Okay,
think.
that's super weird. Because Discord is like occasionally acting like I'm streaming and then occasionally not. So I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So either way, this wanderer would have joined up, and they've probably been part of the caravan for a month. They've maybe said a grand total of 2 sentences in that entire time. They wear a deep cloak. Their features are very obscured. Is there anything that the two of you would do to like go out of your way to interact with this person? Now, granted, this is a caravan of about 40 people, more or less.
Right. What I would say is based on the newest bit of backstory I fleshed out that I sent you before the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I do actually have a history of interacting with characters who, have obscured features, or who are generally kind of, they sort of sit at their own little lunch table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would not actually be out of character. Actually, it would be very in character for me to just sort of, just straight up go up and start trying to interact with them.
So what we can do now is we can actually do a bit of a roleplay scene, which both of you qualify for, since you would both be here at this time. So let me go ahead and I'll cut the BGM. And maybe do I have something that's like...
out of curiosity, what is Scratch's charisma stat? I don't remember.
Scratch is not the world's most charismatic individual. Let me see. They're not bad. Don't say the number. Because now that we are like formally in game, things need to be described in a particular way.
Got it.
So that
would you consider me? Would you consider Wim to be more charismatic than Scratch?
Let's see.
Generally speaking.
No, actually.
No.
Though,
interesting. Okay.
Though generally speaking, Scratch does not look very charismatic. I mean, he definitely dresses the part of like a Kenku who's like kind of spooky. And since you've seen him like steal stuff, you can't imagine that he's just like, he doesn't use his natural charm. What it is though, is that whenever he speaks, which as I've described before, Kenku speak by using words and sounds that they've heard from other people. The way that he mimics, like sometimes you just hear your own voice and you're just like, you ever get that feeling that like somebody's calling your name and you just have to pay attention to it?
Right. Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like every time Scratch speaks. You can just hear things of like people you've maybe met before, sounds you've heard before. Something about the way that he talks just causes you to pay more attention, if that makes sense. So in that sense, he is very charismatic, but it's not necessarily like a natural feature. You don't look at him and think, damn, it's a good looking bird. Like, and even the things that he says don't really, sometimes they're nonsensical, but it's just the way that he talks and presents himself. You can pretty easily get the idea that he's very used to this and he's probably aware of how other people perceive him, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay. So, let me go look for a BGM that kind of works out here.
I'm just about done eating.
Actually, I can keep these. I don't like that one. No.
That sounds very ominous.
Yeah, I have. Well, there's a bunch of spooky caves and puzzles later, so I have a few of these lined up.
Right.
Those are combats. No. Hold on. Let me go find a track. Was it like? Oh, I think this is what it was. Here's hoping I get it right on the first try. Oh, I did. Nice.
Ooh.
All right. So here we have the Wanderer. At the current time, it's kind of late afternoon. The caravan has stopped. It's settled down, and we are getting ready to set up watches, because this is about the only time that this guy kind of starts to move around. Oh, look, now I can do this. All right. Sorry. Okay. Now that I have my DM face on.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't trust this guy. He's planning something.
All right. So we have the Wanderer going, and he seems to like sort out through his goods, which you can see all of his equipment is in a singular backpack. Like everything this guy owns. He looks to have like a light crossbow, a walking staff, some kind of knickknacks here and there. Like you see a plank of wood tied to a string, and that's like it. And by plank of wood, I guess it's more like a wood chip that you would see at like one of those old playgrounds.
Oh,
know?
okay, not like an actual, not like plank from Ed and Nettie.
No.
Okay.
Not like a 2x4.
It's a pretty small like chip of wood, but it's tied to a string, and he keeps it close on him like all the time. It also looks slightly burnt or like darker. You're not sure if it's just like a natural magical thing of a tree that he got or something. It nonetheless looks somewhat charred. He also has a pelt of what is some kind of bear, maybe, you think? What's up, DJ? Yeah, so he has this pelt, and that's what he usually wraps everything up in, like around the backpack. He also seems to use it as part of his cloak sometimes, especially when it's colder. What else has he got? Yeah, that's basically it. He has a mess kit, and he does do some cooking, though. Let's see. Okay. You have definitely seen this happen. Actually, do either of you have dark vision?
I don't believe I have dark vision.
I think Weeb has dark vision.
So somebody, it might be Hebe or it might be Weeb. I'm pretty sure somebody has dark vision, but I don't think it's me.
Oh, it's neither of you. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's either of us.
Okay. So this is the kind of person that always offers to go get firewood, if that makes sense. Like anytime you set down for camp, they don't even like say anything. They just walk into some woods. They come back with enough wood. And they don't ever bother using a match kit. They just kind of hold out their hand, and then a fire spawns. Sometimes whenever the bards make music, both of you have high enough passive perception to notice that this person will make the flames sort of dance along with the bard's music to sort of just make the whole performance like a little bit better. But it's definitely something that they do like purposefully.
Question: would I be able to recognize whether or not the fire starting is like a fireball cantrip?
You can roll Arcana.
Ooh, okay. Here, hold on, let me pull up my character. Arcana.
Okay. You absolutely know that this is the act of a spell, but it's not a spell that you are particularly familiar with. Let me see who can get it.
I didn't take the fireball cantrip.
I know. Okay, so you are aware enough that the firebolt cantrip can light fires. It doesn't move them. You actually figure that this is the spell Control Flames. It's a cantrip. And a good amount of, like, natural survivalists have this in addition to the cantrip Create Bonfire, which does exactly what it says on the tin. So you figure that this is an individual that uses those two cantrips to just sort of, like, make things work. Like, if at any point there's a scouting party, rather than have their torches put into the bonfire, the Wanderer will often, like, have the flames jump from torch to torch to torch to light them.
Right.
Did
you mentioned that he seems to be kind of attuned with nature a little bit?
He's mentioned that he feels more at home in a natural setting. And other caravan members are sure that he's some kind of druid or ranger.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if I would know that he's probably a druid.
Yeah, you would think that would be the case, but most druids deal with plants and animals. It's pretty rare to see one that deals with fire, or at least if he has other abilities, he hasn't used them.
Okay.
So just set the scene once more. We have again, it's pretty late at night. Kind of the fire has been started, or at least he has just started it, and the three of you are just kind of in the vicinity of one another.
So we're not planning to, like, we didn't discuss this before, like, hey, let's go see what that guy's about. We're just kind of both, like, curious about this individual.
Well, I mean, for your own reasons, right? I said that you can participate in it. Wim has already stated that he goes out of his way to talk to people who are kind of vague and mysterious. You know, he doesn't like the lone wolf types. And so, you know, you have a high enough passive perception to, like, see this exchange, unless Wim is really going really far out of his way to, like, throw a blanket over himself or, like...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, yeah. And the Wanderer themselves don't really make themselves, like, invisible or whatever. They just kind of exist in a given area. They don't do anything to draw attention to themselves, but they don't actively
they're more low
profile.
profile.
Yeah. So you can easily see that this happens. Most of the other caravan members don't seem to, like, really care, especially since you've been here since Waterdeep. Actually, both of you would know this. Other people have tried to approach them, but they haven't really done so repeatedly. Like, usually after one conversation, they're like, all right, the guy's a weirdo. So it's up to you, Miu, whether or not you want to participate. It's just, I was mostly saying that you can, and it's not weird for you to do so.
I'm mostly interested in that wood chip that you had brought up earlier.
Okay. It's a pretty interesting thing to be interested in, but it's not strange. Actually, I have a map for this. I'm so cool. Okay. Let me grab tokens. I need you, and... Okay. Oh, right, it messes with my emotions. Okay. So we have this. We'll do it like so. Actually, that works out quite well. We'll put you right around here. We'll put you right around here. And then I need something. Really? Not like a campfire or something? Okay, that'll work. Nani? What's happening? Okay. Wow, is all of this stuff just like messing up? Oh, there it is. It was just lagging. Okay. Okay. So I will now bring you guys to the map. Okay. Oh, whoops. I forgot to reveal. Oops. It.
Wow.
All right. So this is your part of the caravan. Like I said, it's more or less just kind of like calm down for the night. The carts are being split up, and this is a pretty common thing because if you have just a bunch of carts everywhere, it's really hard to keep track of them all at once.
Right.
So each cart has been given like a set of individuals who can protect themselves. You three plus a few others, you know, basic guards and stuff. They've already gone out into the forest to try and like hunt for food. So now it's just you three. Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. That was bad.
I'm assuming the Wanderer has their belongings on their person.
Yes.
Right?
Notably, they always carry all of their stuff all of the time.
I see.
So what do? There's no like turn order or
Can
anything.
I?
You can just
Oh,
kind of.
Wim, are you gonna approach?
Yeah, I was gonna approach. I can move my token, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say, generally speaking, I'd probably approach over to here, and without getting like right up in his face, but you know, kind of move over to here.
Okay.
And I think I'd probably, you know, try and start a conversation and say, hey, you know, I've noticed that you seem to be kind of an interesting fellow. You kind of sit by yourself and whatnot. And I think what I would do is say, you know, as somebody who likes to create and tinker with interesting objects, I noticed that you carry a rather strange piece of wooden string on your person at all times. Is it enchanted or magical? That's
Oh,
probably how I would open it.
Before I respond to this, Miyu, do you do anything in particular? Again, right now you're kind of in plain sight. Nobody like has paid that much attention to you, but like, you know, if you were to say I want to be stealthy, you know, you could roll stealth or you could just rely on your passive stealth. I just need to know, for like the sake of the scene, what are you doing while this happens?
I guess I'm just kind of dealing with my own belongings. I'm kind of listening. Am I within earshot?
Yeah. I mean, again, as long as nobody's like trying to be stealthy, you can pretty easily hear this stuff if you like just kind of haphazardly focus on it.
See, can I? For now, I will stay where I am, and
Okay.
can I just kind of listen in to what they're talking about?
Yeah, that's fine. You don't need to roll anything.
Got it.
Again,
I'm just gonna
up
hang
until
out
like
here.
somebody decides to purposely start whispering, that's when you would need to either roll something or get closer.
Got it.
Okay, so in response, the Wanderer doesn't really turn to face you. It's more that like the top of his robe kind of shifts in your direction to like acknowledge that something has moved there, and then it goes back to focusing on the fire. Whereupon he says, "Oh, yeah, I'm not really good at conversations. As for this," and he produces the kind of darker wood with the string tied to it. "I don't know. I've always had it with me, at least as long as I can remember. Though, that said, I don't really remember much." And he kind of... You get the idea that he's like staring at the fire as though he's trying to get something from it, like maybe it reminds him of something or what, but he sort of just lingers there for a minute. And unless you say anything, he'll after maybe a full minute of silence, he'll end up saying something to the effect of, "Is there something that you needed?"
Right.
Well, this is where I get interested. Oh, sorry. Wim.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
where
I was
get
gonna ask
interested.
if you wanted to do
Yeah,
anything first.
talking about the little wood chip, so
Yeah.
I want to move a little closer and get a better look at what this wood chip is. So I will move over here.
So again, are you trying to move stealthily, or are you
I'm
just
just
walking
kind
up?
of like just kind of slowly moving. Don't want to alert. Don't want to. Nah, I don't want to alert anyone.
Okay, so you do want to move quietly.
Yes.
Go ahead and
so
roll
is it-
stealth for me.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, so for Wim, I actually go ahead and respond. Rather.
Right. So follow up for that would be, I'd probably say something to the effect of, oh, I happen to know, there's a good friend of mine who you remind me of, the one from the backstory.
Yeah.
Uh,
I got you.
Yeah. Well, this actually works out really well for this conversation. And I'd say like I don't know anything about your past, but you strike me as somebody who's met with a rather unfortunate fate, an unfortunate set of circumstances. And then I'd probably say something to the effect of, "Would you mind if I took a closer look at your wooden string? Maybe it has some kind of information that we could use to figure out, like a clue of your history or your destination."
So he nods, and he starts to hand it to you, and this is where things are weird. So he holds it by the string part, but it doesn't unravel. It's like the laws of gravity don't work on the actual.
Oh, it's not
wood.
tied.
It's
No,
not tied.
it's wrapped around.
Oh.
Where previously it
Oh.
might have looked tied because he always held on to it, and you would just assume that somebody would tie a string. It's actually just a string coiled around a wood chip. But the wood chip does not seem to move. Like, he can dangle it like, it was a cat toy or something, but the string never unfurls.
So it's like constantly coiled on this wood chip.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Can I roll an investigation check on something?
Depends on what.
Sort of. I want to see if the string is somehow, like, visually, I guess, if he, well, no, because he's still holding it. I'm not holding
So
it.
yeah, he's holding it like it were a yo-yo in front of you, and that's
Right.
when you notice that it doesn't unravel, even though it should.
Can I roll an investigation check to sort of examine it visually and see if the string is like somehow bound to the wood, either physically or magically?
So I'll just give this to you.
Like, is it melted together or something?
No, it has to be magical. The string itself bears properties that don't make a lot of sense. You've seen a lot of weavers' tools and like similar craftsmen who make things like this. The string does not appear. It like looks like a string, but it's clearly been disguised that way. The inspection that you get, because even it's kind of being held next to a bright fire, you get the idea that these two objects are actually a singular object, and it must have been created this way. Like, it's not just a piece of wood that's been chipped off of a tree. This object is in itself an object. Like, it appears to have been created explicitly in this fashion. But he otherwise holds it out to you.
Interesting. A singular object, but it seems like it's wrapped around and not like the string like substances coming
Right.
out of the wood.
They
What-
appear to be two separate objects, but you can clearly tell that it was made this way. It would almost
Right.
be as though, like, if this were a brass object, it would make sense that somebody like welded it together.
Right.
But clearly it's like a totally natural formation.
Is there anything else I can glean from the string-like material, like what its actual properties are?
You can roll investigation now.
I can roll investigation? Okay.
Yeah. Unless there's another skill that you would like to use.
Ooh, okay, hold on. I have... well, the relevant ones would...
There's quite a few that
does-
apply, but I can't tell you all of them.
Right. So, well, from what I see, my options are Arcana. Insight is for more people and situations. And like Arcana, Investigation, and Perception. Nah, Perception isn't for objects.
Oh, well, perception can be used for the same thing as investigation. It's just more general.
Right. So it would be insight or not insight, investigation or arcana. But I think from what I've sort of gathered at this point, it clearly should be something magical. So I think I want to roll arcana.
Arcana. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I see. All right. You gather that this is a magical focus of some kind.
Okay.
Like, you use tools. Other spellcasters have like particular things. This absolutely solidifies that this guy is probably a druid.
Okay.
While there isn't, while the both the bark and the quote unquote string, which you now realize is actually a plant tied around it, both of them are magical, but this is a single object and it appears to have kind of a pulsing aura of magic. You can't really tell what that is unless you have a spell like Detect Magic or Identify to like actually figure it out, but it is magical.
Right.
At this point,
Mia, you want to take over for a minute while I...
While he pulls out his notepad.
No, while I go answer, there's something going on in the forest I have to do real quick, and I'll be back.
Okay,
of
okay.
course. At this point, I would like to get a bit closer and get a better look.
Okay.
After-
For the record, nobody seems to have noticed you.
Nobody seems to have noticed me yet.
Nope.
Okay. I'd like to quietly move over to like right over here. So I guess I have to roll stealth.
You don't really need to roll it again.
No?
I mean, again, unless
No?
you're like actively trying not to be hidden. Your previous roll is still good enough.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just gonna hang out
even
here.
though you're well within the proximity of like a fire that's emitting light, you are so practiced at walking on grass in a particular way that you really don't make like the sounds of the fire crackling against the wood is louder than your footsteps.
I see.
And since the two of them are like actively engaged with each other, they don't seem to have taken notice of you. So like if you stab Wim right now in the back, totally a sneak attack.
I don't think I will do that.
Well,
I don't think I will do that.
You can though.
I would not want to. I think okay. I'm still within earshot, so I would just like to say one word to the Wanderer.
Okay.
Chip.
So
Chip.
where previously he hadn't moved a whole lot, like when Wim approached or anything, he like actually turns to look at you, and I want you to roll perception. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so he turns to look at you. And for your sake, Wim, in the case that you're back.
I'm back. I just got back.
So, from behind you, you basically just hear the fucking poltergeist say, Chip! And then you see Scratch behind you, who might as well have just teleported. And
Wait, hold on. Something about a poltergeist?
No.
So Scratch walked up behind you, but their stealth was so good that you didn't see them or hear them move. Like you kind of knew, like passingly, that they were around here.
Yeah.
But now suddenly they're behind you. And so I said it's, it's like the poltergeist. But so the Wanderer, I need you to roll perception. Because the Wanderer like turns as though he was frightened by Scratch, and then something else happens, but let's see if you notice it. That's you, Wim.
Oh, me. Oh,
yeah. Sorry. I forgot you were away because you already rolled perception.
Right.
Okay, just enough. So you, as the Wanderer turns to face Scratch, you see the bonfire contort, like as though it were also turning to face Miu, or Scratch. It kind of twists in a very unnatural way, Like the fire and the wood below physically rotates.
Would you would that be described as aggressive or
More of just surprise. You could probably, I mean, you can roll insight to really get it, but like you get the gist that he was just frightened.
okay? Okay, cool. That's,
Because this individual just kind of popped up out of nowhere. And so also his hand sort of retracts, which causes the focus to kind of go back towards his hand, and he holds on to it. And so he looks towards Scratch and says, yeah, it's a chip from a tree, I think.
I think I'll just go back to observing. I'll just continue to observe.
Then he just stares. He's just
And
standing
I'm
there
just looking, I'm just
menacingly.
looking at him.
okay.
Just gonna look at him until he's a little bit uncomfortable.
Conversation. So I'm gonna take sort of what the insight that I've gathered, and say something to the effect of, this seems like it was created by a druid. Would you happen to know anything about druids or have any familiarity with them or remember anything to that effect?
When you mention druid, he kind of stops, like he's thinking about it. And you feel warmer. You're not sure if it's because of the fire or maybe something else happened, but it's definitely a little warmer. And he kind of nods and he says, I woke up with this in my hand, and other people have said something similar. I guess to sort of catch you up to speed, I don't remember anything that happened beyond a week ago. I woke up with all of my things. I knew that they were my things. I had this, and then I found the caravan.
Can I ask him where he woke up?
He points. It's like his other hand just kind of like moves behind him, but it does so in a very slow, not really lumbering, but kind of like...
Uh-oh, did I cut out?
No. Hello?
Hi.
I was asking, can I ask him if he remembers where he woke up?
You didn't hear my response.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear anything. I was like really confused. I was like,
no. So he points in a direction that's kind of behind him, but the way that he does so is a little weird. I wouldn't necessarily describe it as machine-like, but it's like his arm moves across like a set axis. It's very purposeful and very slow, if that makes sense.
okay.
Again, it's not like he's a machine. It's just
Right.
He points to a very... You get the feeling that he like specifically knows the direction that it's in, rather than just arbitrarily guessing.
Right. Okay. So the direction is, so he's facing the fire. Is it?
It's kind of like it's kind of this way that he points with his other hand.
I know which direction is north right now based on this map.
Just for the ease of effort, north is this way.
Okay. Southeast. At this point in our caravan journey, are we still in on, or are we?
You would be in on at this point.
Okay, so
you are heading towards the Sword Coast. Yeah.
Interesting. So On is not really included on the Sword Coast map that we're using.
No. So I can't tell you if there are towns or whatever. Not because it's a secret. I just don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask if I could have potentially talked to people on the caravan while we were on about locations in the area, because it would make sense in character in case I'm interested in material.
But honestly, there's not really a big answer to that either, because towns in Amd can get up and move.
Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah. All of their stuff is made to be temporary. So, I mean, if there was a town there, it might not be there anymore. So it's really hard to say.
Huh. I'm running low on insight.
He's
Jump
a
in.
mysterious stranger.
Who are you, you mysterious stranger?
I'm a mysterious stranger. What's so hard about that? That's not what happens. Okay.
He opens his cloak and he's like, "What are you buying, stranger?"
I've
Resident
got
Evil-
if you need armor or weapons to protect you from someone else's.
Oh my god.
Can I-
Ropes? Bombs? You want it? It's yours. As
Oh,
long as you
God.
have the rupees.
Okay, go ahead, Mia.
Can I go up to the Wanderer and like ask to see this wood chip again?
How are you approaching him?
I just want to just casually approach him because I feel like I've made
Well,
my
like,
presence known.
move your token in
Oh,
such a
yes.
way of like which side are you going on?
I think am I close enough here?
Okay. Once again, Whim, you notice this automatically. Mew, you would need to roll perception. But the fire again moves to like follow her.
Oh, should I roll?
Scratch, rather. You can. Otherwise, you don't notice that the fire twists in any kind of weird way. But
No,
because
I
Whim
will
saw it
roll.
before.
Yeah, I would probably make a verbal mention of that.
Okay.
I will
Like just
Yeah,
a verbal,
and that's
you
high
know,
enough. Even before
Yeah.
Whim mentions it, you kind of see, especially now that you're closer. Again, the wood itself seems to be moving to like watch your movements. And both of you can pick up on the idea that if he needed to defend himself, this is how he would do so. So then Wynn interrupts with the mention that the fire moves, to which the Wanderer, while still looking in the direction of Scratch, will say, I've always had an affinity with the natural world, but it seems to manifest itself with things like this.
Okay. I mean, from that, I was gonna ask a follow-up question. If this happens with every, does this happen often? Does it happen with every fire? But it sounds like the answer to that is yes. Then.
Yeah, or at least he has control over it.
Oh, okay. Well, so I wasn't thinking that it was a conscious thing. I was thinking that it was sort of subconscious. Interesting.
Well, that's interesting. Why don't you roll me some insight?
Some insight? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because normally, like, druids have the ability to like control flames. It's a cantrip for them, and their version of prestidigitation can also do the same thing. So it's like pretty normal for like if you know somebody's a druid, you can figure that they do stuff like that. Then insight, yeah, you don't really gain anything extra.
Yeah, that's. Let's see the
but
color on that one.
I will tell you, saying like if you were to say that it's sapient, like the flame itself was sapient, that would be pretty weird. That's not normal. Nobody has seen anybody that is capable of doing that, though there are spells that exist to make inanimate things animate. There's quite a few of them, but having it happen to like an element is really bizarre. Or at least a very advanced form of magic.
Right, and it wouldn't really make sense for this to be a, like, I mean, could you imagine a rationale for anytime you sit near a fire, you go ahead and surreptitiously sort of cast a control of it, you know?
Right. I mean, your insight does tell you that there is something weird about the fire. Like, more so, like, even if he was consciously controlling it, that in itself is, again, strange. You don't really understand how something might happen, or anything that he's said so far might clue you into it. You get the idea that it's a little weird. But Scratch was approaching him, and you said you were going to do something?
Oh, me? I would like to. I look at him again, and I kind of hold my hand out, and I say "ship," but this time in more of like a asking tone.
He retracts
Ship?
his hand and says, "No, probably not."
Aw. Okay, well, I retract my hand. I kind of look dejected, but I will still be there to listen to
Okay.
their exchange.
This actually leads kind of nicely into my next question. I was going to ask if he's, how do I phrase this? I was going to ask if he has ever, at any point that he can remember, not been in physical contact with this object.
No.
Like if he's ever put it down to the point where he wasn't holding it and he wasn't wearing it, like it was just next to him.
Yeah, he just shakes his head and simply says no.
Could I persuade him with a persuasion roll to attempt to put it down onto the ground next to him and let go of it, just to see what happens?
He will instead ask you why.
My response would be that I'm not sure. I think that I would say that clearly this seems to be a key to the mystery of your condition, and I'm wondering if it is potentially a curse that binds him.
Okay.
And what might happen if he were to let go of it for just a moment.
Go ahead and roll your persuasion.
Persuasion, okay.
He looks at you, then at the chip, and ultimately shakes his head. And he says, "No, I don't feel like I've been made ill because of it. It's important to me. I just don't know why."
Interesting. Huh. I would think to ask. Oh no! Again, no, that's a dumb idea because again, we're talking on. It's not like there's going to be a specific druid settlement. I wonder if. I mean, people in caravans, people talk about things that happen. So while we're stopped and on, it wouldn't be unusual to hear news from the surrounding areas.
Yeah, that's
fair. But if I don't know if that makes sense from a gameplay perspective. Because if I'd already heard, I would have gone into this conversation knowing.
What are you trying to garner?
I'm wondering if there's any incident of significance, like significant enough that word would reach the ears of a nearby caravan.
You can roll history or a base intelligence check. They will give you two different things. And basically the reason I'm saying this is that history will be if you have read or heard anywhere about like the general happenings, where an intelligence check would be if you remember anything that happened along your journey. The DCs are also different.
DC?
Sorry. The DC refers to difficulty check. It's basically the number that you have to meet with your roll, meet or exceed.
Oh, okay. So the fact that I have like a high end means that it would expect a higher thing for it to be successful.
Well, no. It's that because they are two different means of going about basically the same thing. One is easier than the other.
Okay, I think I'll probably trying to remember something I would have heard is probably easier. I think I'm gonna roll intelligence.
Okay, so it'd be an intelligence check. All right, so you have not heard of anything about druid circles, but you have heard of a story. Actually, a lot of the tribal nomads that you meet and have traded with. A lot of them have warned you about the Great Fire. And when asked about it, the story differs from person to person, and some might call it the Great Deluge, the Great Ice Storm. Basically, something happened at a point. It is most commonly fire, but again, others have attributed different elements. But basically, in the far eastern part of the continent, allegedly there was a great explosion, and it wiped out like a huge amount of the continent. Now, this is already kind of a weird story because you feel like you would have like heard of this, even in a
that's something that's significant.
But because this is the southernmost part of the continent, it's possible that, if this story is
Exaggerated.
true, well, maybe that, or like literally there was like one survivor and the story that they told has been kind of twisted.
Okay.
Or it's if it's as big of a calamity as they're saying, that the story just hasn't reached, like it was either a very recent event or event that happened so long ago that basically nobody remembers the details. But more or less, you have heard of there being more kind of spontaneous bursts of elemental energy around and nobody's really sure why. The general like thought of the caravan is that since the spell plague like formally ended literally a few weeks ago, that kind of its after effects are still lingering, and that must be why, which is totally plausible. But yeah, it's specifically around just bursts of flame, ice, water, just elemental happenings. And the reason that this is important and prevalent is that, since you've brought up that the way that this individual interacts with fire is special, and that they themselves have also stated that they feel more attuned to fire, that these two things might be connected.
Right. So I would imagine that more so this would lean towards a recent occurrence. The word hasn't reached yet, because that would fall in line, assuming he's telling the truth. It would fall in line with his lack of memory beyond, what was it, like a week ago?
Yeah, a week or so ago.
So at this point, I would be wondering if that story is true, and if the timelines sort of match, that I'd be I would be curious and a little wary that this guy might perhaps be a catalyst or a cause of these happenings.
Mm-hmm.
But that still doesn't really address his past. Interesting. Miyu, you're very quiet.
I am
just
merely
over there buttering
observing.
She is in the middle
Chip,
of this
chip,
big
chip,
brain
chip.
chess match. That's
Oh.
going on.
I'm just curious about the chip. I'm not trying to find out
Both
about
in the
this
game
guy.
and in real life.
Yeah, I am actually like genuinely curious about this like chip. I'm like actually like genuinely curious.
It's
But
pretty interesting.
I'm just observing for now. It is pretty interesting.
So I think at this point I would this is something that I do myself in real life, but also probably my character would do. I'd mention this out loud, as I kind of think over it, to kind of run it by him.
No reaction. Not even a response.
reaction.
He just kind of blankly stares. Your best guess, based on your passive insights for both of you, is that either he's heard this like 100 times before, or maybe he doesn't think they're related, or
maybe he's not able to piece it together.
Right.
Maybe something prevents him from piecing it together.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's no reaction.
I might need a minute. I'm trying to think of
this
of
makes me
ways
so
to go
happy.
about this.
Would you guys believe that I came up with this morning?
Damn.
I rolled up the character like earlier today, like before the game, because when Hebe mentioned that she wouldn't be able to join, I was like, oh, I need an NPC to join them, and so I threw this one together.
I feel like I'm kind of reaching the limits of what I can glean from this guy.
I can tell you that you have almost all the pieces. In fact, with one somewhat moderate leap of logic, you can get the last piece.
You're teasing me here. This is gonna drive me nuts. Okay.
Again, you can roll insight to get like a gut feeling, or you can just roll a base intelligence to try and like put the pieces together. Basically, if I always believe that your character can do all the same things that you can do. Now, your character is galaxy brain, like actually really smart. So if you ask me, hey, can I roll intelligence to just have you like tell me the things that I should know about this situation, that's fine. I won't complete the puzzle for you, but your character is good enough at remembering things and piecing together logic that it's fair for me to like do that for you. Or
All right, I might do that.
Okay.
But I think first I'm gonna give this another run through sort of mentally.
All
So
right. In the meantime, would Scratch like to do anything?
Chip.
There's
Chip,
a few
I'm still
things
figuring
that,
out
that
Chip.
only you can do too.
Oh, Jesus,
But
really?
yeah, it's up
Oh
to you.
no, my tiny pea brain. Oh god, I'm gonna have to combine all my brain
Well,
cells for this.
I have an idea of it.
So
but
me,
I'm like, I can't say anything.
Yes.
Scratch knows
Yes.
that he's very good at taking things. If he really wants something, he can probably get it.
It's true. What is the Wanderer doing with the chip right now?
He's just holding
how are they holding it? He's just holding it.
It's kind of in the palm of his hand. He's not like gripping it or anything, but he's definitely holding it.
Hold on. Are
you coming up with something? Because
I have. So at this point I know Scratch. I know what Scratch is capable of, and personally, I would still be kind of hung up on the idea of separating him from the chip just to see what happens.
Oh, are we thinking? Are we both thinking what
Well, are we gonna tag team this random ass dude? Like, come on.
Well, because he doesn't know that Scratch and I are loosely affiliated.
No, but you
imagine.
figure that anybody who joins a caravan can loosely assume that everybody is at least acquainted. I mean, it's like when you walk into a cafeteria, right? Because you guys get assigned to carts. When you walk into a school cafeteria and you see all the cliques, you don't need to know them personally, but you can assume that they know each other.
Oh, I was thinking that. So my thought here, before I kind of get back to piecing all this together, was I was thinking that what I could do is I could use magical tinkering to create, like for example, create an object. Well, no, that would have to be tapped by a creature. To create some kind of distraction in the woods behind him, which would then allow Scratch to snatch the chip.
I see.
Never
mind.
Because
I
don't think
Vim can't understand thieves can't, can he? You cannot.
I got it. No.
You don't know
Probably
if
not.
he does or not.
I see.
But I mean, it's not a language many people know. You can assume that he doesn't, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I'll take that chance. I was just thinking.
And remember,
maybe I could ask
your
say,
mimicry
hey, wanna...
has a unique interaction with languages. If you remember that. Last week I told you that if you don't speak a language, or if you want to convey something in another language to somebody that doesn't speak it, there's a special skill that only you can make use of because of your ability.
Oh God, what was it?
Okay.
Well, I'm really
since we're more or less
too.
okay, so basically, this isn't like a rule in D&D. It's something that I more or less gave Scratch because of just the way that he's built. He's built different. So
he's built different.
Kenku don't speak normally. They speak by stringing together sounds that they've heard and conveying a general idea, which means that if Scratch were to speak a different language, obviously he would have to use sounds of other people speaking that language, but because Kenku are racially made in order to do this, Miu can kind of allow you to get the gist of what Scratch is trying to say.
Okay,
even if you don't speak the language,
for example.
Right? Yeah, Scratch can basically make up a code of gestures that translates for you. The only downside is that anybody that sees you or hears you can also make the attempt.
Yeah, I don't.
So
okay. Yeah, it can be used.
Yeah,
Scratch. What I was thinking is maybe I try and communicate to Wim. Oh, go me? Okay. I was thinking, I try to communicate to Wim, like saying, like, "Hey, I'm gonna grab this thing and I'm gonna throw it to you,
I mean,
so you can
again,
look at it."
you can try to
Why
do
didn't
that.
me?
You can try to do that with a performance check, and we will see how that goes. Now, the way
Okay.
that this check works is I have an extremely high DC. It's like 30, right? How successful Miyu is in the performance check will lower the DC by 5. And then Wim will have to roll insight, and if he gets higher than the original DC after it's been lowered, then he'll be able to understand it.
Okay. Before, I think if I'm gonna commit to this, I think I'd probably want to try and hold on a second. I think I want before before I take the action to try and separate him from his precious belongings. I really feel like I'd try to one more time to piece this together. Give me like, hold on a second. We have
Well, in the meantime,
things occurring.
Scratch, Scratch is thinking independently of Gigabrain over here.
Right. Yeah.
So if you would like to try and make the performance check to sort of kind of figure in your head how to, like, because you obviously don't want this guy to know, but you want Wim to know. They're in the same conversation. You're at least smart enough to know that you need to convey a means of, like, code speak.
Okay, I think I would like to do that.
Okay, so go ahead and roll performance. Okay. Wim, roll me an insight check.
What? Insight? Hold
Yep.
on. I'm like
I know.
Your galaxy brain over here.
but because Scratch isn't telepathically matched to you,
Yep, I
he's
rolled
gonna
it.
start squeaking. Okay.
I'm gonna
So
say,
sure enough, Scratch. Actually, Mia, why don't you describe how do you communicate? Like, what noises do you start making? And then I'll be the translator of how that sounds.
Okay, well, I would like to. I'm gonna say chip, like chip. I'm gonna take it, and then I'm gonna throw it to you.
Well, like, okay.
Or am I gonna have to be a little bit more?
Well, if you say that in the common language.
Well, I'm not gonna be saying it in common language,
Right.
of course.
So
I'm just trying to like, what am
I get what it is you want to say, but based on how the rolls ended up, I'm asking you to describe what does Scratch specifically do to try and get this message across. Like, do you say chirp, and then just start like making basketball sounds, you know?
Okay, I'm gonna say chip, and I'm gonna go, whoo! Like, I got like a sound of something like throwing, like a sound of like I'm throwing something, like whoo, whoo, chip.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna say Wim, or however, just Wim is the name you're going, in game.
So you say chip wom quo Wim.
Yes.
Okay, Wim, my man. So you get the idea that something is going to be thrown at you. Like, it sounds like Scratch is trying to warn you of an impending danger.
Oh boy. I feel really stupid right now. I'm getting so stumped by this. I think I'm gonna roll intelligence.
Okay.
Before I take action on this.
What do you want to accomplish with this brain blast?
So damn. I want to sort of understand the relationship between this guy and the occurrences that are supposedly happening.
Okay. Yeah. Because I need to set the difficulty based on what it is you're trying to do.
Okay. Does that work? Should I roll intelligence, rather?
Yep. Okay. So if the timeline matches up, like you said, this guy would wake up and he pointed in kind of a general area. Well, you also know that these elemental spawnings or like happenings have been in various areas. So you can safely assume
Right.
that one of those occurrences happened to this guy. It's kind of funny because you sort of hinted at this accidentally. You figure again that he's somebody that happened upon a circumstance. You don't know if maybe he was just walking around and then he got struck by elemental flame and it changed him, or maybe the elemental flame happened and he just sort of appeared there from like some weird teleportation. You get the idea that one of these elemental bursts happened to him specifically.
Right.
And he
and that, not that he is the cause of them.
Right. You're not sure if it's the causation or if he is the cause of them. Like you said before, you're not sure if he's the catalyst or a victim. But one of these things more than likely happened to him. Because again, it's pretty rare for druids to be so uniquely attuned to something that isn't plants and animals. Usually this would be a very sorcerer thing. Also, your brain blast also tells you that whatever Scratch was trying to get across to you, you probably got it slightly wrong.
Okay. So, well, I know from Scratch's character and the fact that Scratch is literally just sitting over there muttering like chip.
Yeah.
That he's gonna do something with the chip,
right?
And so I my character would be either that either Scratch is going to throw something at the chip, or like the guy with the chip, or the chip is going to be thrown somewhere. And given that Scratch is communicating to me clearly,
yeah,
I feel like I would naturally come to the assumption that Scratch is trying to give the chip to me somehow.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can we do that?
So Scratch, as you kind of communicate this bizarro idea to Wim, you see him put the chip into his bag, and then he puts the bag in front of him. And he, like, holds on to it. He doesn't, like, make a big show of this, either. It seems to be, like, a pretty natural thing. But you get the idea that he understood what you were trying to say.
Ooh. Okay.
I would like to act confused as if I did not understand, so that he does not become wary of me.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a deception.
I have to roll for that? Oh no. Not deception.
Unless you want your well, you were actively lying, right? Because you clearly wanted to understand this. But if you're going to try and play it off as Scratch just being a weirdo, then you are being purposefully ignorant of what was about to happen.
Ooh. If I were to instead, would it be a different skill roll or proficiency roll if I were to communicate, like, no bad Scratch, what are you doing?
Like bad dog.
Would that be deception still?
You can roll persuasion instead.
Okay.
Because it's not like you
persuasion.
agreed to the plan. You didn't really understand it yourself.
Yeah.
You may roll
persuasion. I'll roll persuasion.
Okay. And he seems to be a little bit more relaxed, though the object is still within the backpack, and he is, like, within very close proximity to it.
So I still feel like I'm missing a piece here, or a way to put all this together.
Like I said, there is one piece that you need to make, like, a little bit of a leap in logic for.
Oh no, I don't like logic leaps. No.
It's okay.
No, don't cheat for me unless it would be, like, legitimate,
well,
like something that I would.
You should go over the whole conversation, like, from the start.
I'm already forgetting parts.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right. because there are two things. There's one thing that you actually brought up and you seem to have either forgotten about or decided that it's unimportant.
No, I feel like whatever it is, I've forgotten that I've even said it.
All right.
Oh, like as a person.
Because you yourself brought it up as something to be strange, and I was like, yes, it is strange, and then like you moved on.
All right.
Would you like to roll?
Is this something I'd have to roll
again?
for?
Well,
yeah,
you can.
I will intelligence.
I mean, intelligence is basically your memory.
Okay.
So if you forget something, right, or you believe your character
if
should
I
have forgotten,
as a character or as a player?
yes.
Just to roll my real life intelligence.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you guys don't take notes, that's up to you. You know.
Oh, I was on the impression that we're not supposed to be like writing things down. We're supposed to kind of because we wouldn't be doing that.
Well,
in this. Oh, okay.
It just depends, right? I mean,
changes
anything that you deem to be important. Like whenever I meet characters, I always write down like the general description that a GM gives me, because it's something that I would obviously know about. So anything that stands out as weird, you know, is something that your characters might remember about them because it's strikingly odd, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm unless I were to rewind the stream, there's no way I'm gonna remember what it is I've said. So I'm gonna roll intelligence.
Yeah, go ahead and roll intelligence.
Oh.
This guy is a weirdo. You actually get the feeling you sort of understand why most people, when they come up to talk to him after one conversation, they don't bother trying again. There's like not a whole lot to go off of. However, I will say that because you yourself brought it up before, I would give you advantage, which is high enough for me to say the fire, the way that he interacts with it, you know that control fire and create bonfire are spells. They are spells that require an active cast time. You have yet to see him
okay, this is what we're talking about.
You have not seen him cast a spell, but the fire reacts nonetheless.
So I haven't seen him cast a spell. So the question, therefore, I remember mentioning this now.
So that would be the leap in logic. You have not seen him cast a spell, make any somatic or vocal components.
Now, as an artificer, I have a familiarity with spell casting.
Yep.
So this might be something that my character would know, but I, as a new player to D&D, would not know necessarily. Is whether or not there's like quiet casting or some kind of, because I still want to narrow down whether or not, you know, he actually is casting something and I just haven't noticed it yet, but I could consider it as an actual possibility, or if I can exclude that as a possibility.
Mechanically speaking, all spells have what's called components to them. There's V, S, and M. V means verbal. If a spell has a verbal component, you must recite something. Now, the only way to not recite something or do so very quietly is if you're a sorcerer who bends the rules of magic with their natural metamagic power. Since you've determined that this guy is a druid, druids don't have that ability.
Right, yeah.
So if he did cast a spell, he would have to follow all of the normal rules of that spell. Now, it's possible that he knows some crazy spell that doesn't have verbal or somatic components and is an instant cast, but that seems really unlikely. You've never heard of a spell that controls fire that does that. That doesn't mean it's impossible, it's very unlikely.
Well, do I? So there were two spells, right? There's control flames and you mentioned
create bonfire, which are spells that you have seen him cast these before, but in this specific instance, you have not seen him do so.
Okay, and so I would know therefore whether or not they have verbal components.
Right. Yeah, and they do.
They do have verbal components.
They have verbal, somatic, and material components, both of them.
Okay, so it's not. Wait a minute. I wonder if this is the leap in logic. Does he? Well, it might not be. How frequently does he seem to be? Does he seem like every night, like he is drawn to the bonfire? Like he there's never a night where he's not kind of near a bonfire or something?
No,
I'm going on the line of logic that he might be controlled by something that like related to the fire.
so this would be a different leap in logic because we've already
Different-
done
okay.
the leap in logic. The leap in logic would be if he was casting a spell or not.
Right. So my conclusion here is that he is not casting a spell.
Right, and whether or not that's right, that's up to you. But, really, it's up to me. But it's for you to find out. Now, being drawn to the fire, not more so than just kind of blankly staring into it.
Interesting.
Miyu, what is Scratch doing?
Miyu.
Me,
Miyu,
Scratch is just. I am not saying Chip anymore. I'm just kind of quiet, but I'm. This is too big brain for me, man. You know I have like a single brain cell in my skull, and Scratch has the other one.
Well, so in general, the way that I describe things is I try to like keep in mind a character's like attributes. So like Wim is super smart. So I try to describe things to him in a way that would like I'm sort of trying to guide his brain across a path of logic based on what I think would make sense for his character to also figure out. Though based on both his roles and the things that he's asked me, he's just barely missing it.
I can. It's right there.
It's right there.
Tantalizing. I cannot put my finger on it. Hold on. I'm typing up my notes. This is gonna drive me nuts. How could you do this to me?
Well, I mean, I every NPC that I make has a complete backstory. I sort of wanted to introduce this aspect into the game. I didn't anticipate to do it this way, because what I wanted to happen was you would go through the first part of the campaign, and then there would be a brief time where all of you get to settle down, and you would all roleplay at once, and then an event like this would happen. So I knew that I wanted to do this, but not like this.
He's still holding on to the bag, I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
With
Yep.
the
But
little chip
his
inside of
guard
it?
is kind of down.
His guard is kind of down, eh?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to. Nah. Kind of. No, I think I'll stay where I am. I was gonna say I will kind of like move closer to Wim, as to not like draw too much attention, as if I'm like, ooh, I'm so close to you or whatever.
Okay. This just makes me smile so much.
Hold on.
Actually, Mew, why don't you do me a favor here? Type in chat /roll 1d100.
/roll 1d100?
Yeah, put a space between roll and the 1.
But not between the 1 and d100?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright. Now things get to happen. Alright, Wim. I'm afraid you're gonna get your answer, but probably not in the way that you wanted to. Alright.
It's honestly, I feel like I've performed well enough.
So
to
both of
save
you
face.
hear shouting. Like cries for help from the other guards. Like one of them sounds like they're getting like beaten to death. And so the Wanderer gets up and he moves. And as he moves more than 10 feet away, the fire goes out.
Oh.
Does that say anything?
Well, I think it was the wise decision.
No, now my brain is just shut down. Now I'm really
Okay.
confused.
Wait, no.
Okay.
So can he not? Wait, then there's something about that fire that he has to be. Wait, he took his belongings with him, right?
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Okay.
Something about
All right.
him. and
Let's
that
see. Let's see
certain
if this tiny
Ooh,
combat.
I know. I think I know something that Scratch could do here to test this theory, but I don't know if I can't necessarily communicate that. I don't know if I can communicate that to Scratch.
I don't think you can.
Well, hold on. So he's distracted right now, or at least his attention has shifted.
Yes.
So
yeah.
What I'm thinking here is so we've all witnessed this, that like the moment he and his bag left the fire area. You said 10 feet,
Yep.
or did you say how far he's moved?
Yeah. As soon as he gets 10 feet away, the fire goes out.
Okay. Could you? So that this has already happened at this point. Would you mind moving his token?
I'm
Just
about to
sort of
change
signify that.
maps, but because I assume that you guys are gonna follow him, or maybe not.
Well, before you change maps, though.
Okay. I will remove him, and I'll also remove the fire.
Wait, where did he go?
He ran into the forest.
Oh no, I thought like, well, like, okay, this is an action that I would have kind of done
Oh,
as soon as
you gonna
as soon
like
as
interrupt
as soon as the
him?
fire went out. My plan here is I am going to communicate to Scratch, that that's 10 feet. It's like
Well,
15,
when he
that's
gets
like 15
more
feet.
than 10 feet away.
Oh, away from. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to test the theory about whether it's him or whether it's the chip. So I want to communicate to Scratch to try and sneak up, snatch the bag, and bring it back to where the campfire is.
Okay.
Is this an interrupt that I can do?
I mean, yeah, you can freely say that, worded however really you like, and you can even say that you say so somewhat quietly, since he's clearly
I have a
distracted.
better idea. He's walking away. He's not facing us.
He's like running.
Oh,
Okay.
so you're like,
I
okay.
know exactly what to do.
Okay.
Potential big brain moment here.
Okay.
So, if you remember correctly from the playtesting,
Yeah.
I have magical tinkering.
Yeah.
And I can create a static visual effect on an object's surface, including my own self, my ring.
Yes.
Effect can be a picture, up to 25 words of text, lines
Yep.
and shapes, or a mixture of these elements.
Yep.
I would like to put my message, bring bag with chip back to fire. So that way it shows up on my ring, and that way Scratch can see that, but he can't. The Wanderer can't.
Yeah.
Because he is looking away.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
That's fine. Okay. Scratch, you see this, and what do you do?
I look at him. I kind of nod, like understandingly.
And you go to chase after the Wanderer?
Yes.
All right, Wim, do you follow?
So there's a commotion.
There is a commotion.
I am going to begin moving, but I don't want to get more than 10 or 15 feet away from the bonfire. I want to be prepared for anything. So in case we actually do need to go somewhere with haste,
I'll go ahead and tell you that you have to move a significant distance away from the bonfire to get to where the commotion is.
Oh, okay. So in that case, it doesn't really matter if I don't really move yet. I think that I would probably move like, hold on, am I visible? I'm not. I'd probably move 5 or 10 feet, like to here, to this side of the bonfire.
Okay.
But other than that, I'd stay near the bonfire.
Okay. All right. In that case, some fun things happen.
Time for me to roll.
Well, are you going to try and follow him silently?
Yes.
Okay, roll stealth. As a note, you move at half speed when you are moving silently because you're like actively taking time. Okay. Give me just a second.
Oh, I really hope I'm right.
And I really hope I get this.
Setting up the encounter briefly. Okay. Miyu, I'm going to transfer you and the party to this. Actually, I'll just transfer everybody. Let me make sure that you're hidden because you didn't
Wait,
follow.
Did Scratch successfully get the bag and bring it back?
Well, again, so this guy's running at full speed. Scratch has to move at half speed to move silently.
Yeah.
The only way Scratch catches up is if he makes his presence known, and then tries to steal it while the Wanderer would be totally aware of it, or Scratch goes all the way to where the Wanderer is going and then steals it.
Okay. Well, that's up to Scratch, I guess.
I will do that in the pursuit of knowledge.
Well, which one are you doing?
Oh, I will follow the Wanderer at half speed.
Okay. All right. Then I will move the party. Obviously, Wim is not here because he did not follow. We'll do this one. All right. Roll for initiative. Miyu.
I'm assuming I just hit initiative.
Click on your token first.
Okay, and then.
And then you click initiative. Okay. And then the Wanderer. Oh wow, it's not very fast at all. Then this guy and this guy. Alrighty, so you then okay. Scratch, you have the initiative.
Okay.
You are currently stealthed. Let me just get a few things going here. Okay. As you kind of creep your way over here, this wolf looks in your direction.
Oh boy.
Also,
what's the Wanderer doing right now? Or are you still saying?
Well, you have the initiative. You can see that he is like preparing for combat. Like he's pulled out his crossbow.
I see. But currently he's not aware that I'm here.
It seems so, or he hasn't made any mention of noticing you.
Let's see. Is it possible I can roll to see if he has noticed me or not, or?
So rolling a skill in combat takes your main action, but you can. You can roll insight. But right now, it is your turn.
Right. I see. If I were to just run up and try and snatch that bag, he would definitely hear me, right? Or I can't sneak up on him?
You are still stealth, so you would move at half speed. That's
would I be able to get to him?
You are just out of range.
No!
You know what? Just to be fair, because you were stalking him. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm gonna roll. Oh!
So, well, he would be in range if you were to sneak up and try and take it.
But I'm assuming once I've taken it, I'm just gonna be chilling behind him.
Well,
I can't run back to my spot.
You would still be hidden, at least from him, as far as you're aware.
I see. If this is the case, then yes, I will try and snatch his bag off of him.
Okay. Now, are you going specifically for the chip or the whole bag?
I think I will go for the whole bag.
Okay. So to preface, a backpack that he is wearing, you're gonna try and take it off of him.
Oh, Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was a backpack. Oh, damn it. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to go for. Okay, I'm gonna have to go for just the chip then.
Okay. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank goodness you said.
I'm gonna take your whole backpack.
Yeah, take a shirt and shoes while you're at it.
That's technically possible. Just very, very difficult. All right. You may move up to him. Roll your sleight of hand.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
we will go versus his perception. Okay. You are able to grab it, and a few things happen, but first of all, he doesn't seem to notice. However,
Whew.
it's hot. It's hot. It's like a fresh baked potato hot.
Oh god.
Like, it kind of hurts you to hold it. It's not like enough to do damage, but you will have disadvantage on stealth checks and sleight of hand checks. In fact, you just have disadvantage on anything that requires you to like be subtle while you are holding this.
I see. Well,
But you have moved.
well
You have
now
done
that I
your
have
main
it,
action.
do I have to stay or can I just go? I've moved. I see.
No,
so I'm just
that
kinda
you
chilling here.
you are
Alright.
you are finished with your movement. And
Got
you
it.
have, and I don't believe you have any bonus actions. So we start with the wolves.
Okay.
This one runs up, goes Munch against the guard, and does not hit. Okay. This wolf, however, thinks that his buddy has got it. Actually, no. They have pack tactics. They're going to Munch. That one also. Gosh darn it. My sheets are breaking. Okay, that also doesn't hit. Alright, sweet. Get a freaking. There we go. Okay, so then this wolf thinks that its buddies have it and goes straight for the wanderer, but it can't quite make it. So it uses its main action to go all the way up. It's the guard's turn. He goes to attack the one in front of him. Okay. Does that hit? Yes. Okay. So he stabs his spear into the wolf in front of him. Doesn't seem to kill it, but does a good hit. The wanderer then takes his turn. How does this work? Okay. Let's see if I have one of these. Okay, nice. I do. And it's what, medium sized? Oh, actually. Okay, that's what it is. What the heck? Do I not get a token for this thing? That's useful, but there it is. Jesus. All right. So that makes this. I see. So that would make this. All right, sweet. Okay, so you see him kind of throw his hands forward. And a burst of flame, the wildfire itself, or the bonfire itself, appears. And
Oh?
oh, whoops. Hold on. I think I did this incorrectly. Not sure how this subclass works. Each creature within 10 feet other than you. Okay, so that means the wolf has to make a dex save. Succeeds. Okay, so that was his main action. As a bonus action, he kind of drops the crossbow, equips his quarterstaff, and then casts a spell that you don't recognize.
See.
All right, the spirit then takes its turn.
Oh.
Oh, damn it! I should have rolled it to the GM. I'll have to figure that out. All right, well, that misses either way. Scratch, it's now your turn.
Now that I have the chip,
Yep.
can I just run off, like, out of battle, or do I have to stay?
You can. But again, if you want to move stealthily,
well, I mean, I
move
I
half
have what
speed.
I came for, so I kind of.
Yep.
Ooh, and I have
I mean, I don't know if you necessarily need to move stealthy at this point, because he's occupied, right?
You can just run if you want.
Yeah, I think I would like to run off to Whim. While no, I won't make noise. I won't make noise just yet, but I would like to run off.
Well, if you run off without
Okay.
rolling stealth, then they're gonna know. Does that make sense?
Do you think is he gonna chase after me, or
That's not for
is he
me
gonna
to tell
is he-
you.
Oh, it's true. So if I try to move stealthily away,
You would roll your stealth at disadvantage, and then
because
you
you said
move
so long
15
as I'm
feet.
holding this chip.
Yep.
Wait, does it have to be in contact with the skin?
I think so long as it's on my person.
Yeah. I mean, it glows a little bit. It hurts to kind of hold. I mean, yeah, you could put it in a bag and hope it just doesn't burn through.
I think I'll continue to hold it in my hand. I don't want to take that risk.
Okay.
Just in case it like drops on the ground. But I think I will try and make a stealthy escape.
Go for it.
Oh, God, I hope this is.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Now, at disadvantage, we take the lower of the two rolls. So you have rolled. And you may move.
See you later,
15 feet.
sucker.
15 feet.
15 feet?
Three
Okay, how do I do this
squares.
again?
3 squares.
2, 3. Okay, so I'm over here. Kind of like behind these rocks.
All right. As far as you're aware, you are as stealthy as they come. Before we do that, though, Wim, what are you doing, Chief? It's been, we'll say it's been about 5 minutes.
Been about 5 minutes. Honestly, I know Scratch at this point. I have faith in Scratch's abilities. I'm gonna stand and wait by the bonfire. I'm gonna
Alright.
give it a little more time.
Okay. In that case, wolf number 1 attacks at advantage. Ooh. And it bites into the guard. Who needs to succeed? Oh, that's the wrong character sheet. On a strength save. He's good. Alright, this wolf attacks the guard. Alright, and this guy goes down. And they start kind of eating at him. This wolf goes for the wanderer. he does not have advantage, so that does not hit. Guard is dead. The Wanderer. Okay, Scratch. You notice with your passive perception, the spell that he cast on his quarterstaff is now gone. So when he goes to bonk the wolf with it, not only does he miss, but it seems like the magical effects have gone away. And he raises his hand as a bonus action to cast a spell. You see the thing in your object start to glow, but then it stops. And whatever spell he was going to cast just doesn't happen.
Ooh.
And he turns around to look at you.
Oh.
Okay. Now something else
Okay.
happens.
Oh, I was right. But this is not how I wanted it to go.
Oh no. Also,
Okay.
we have a friend in the chat. You may want to take a look. On Discord.
On Discord. Oh, would you look at that? Oh,
And time,
okay.
people. RTA.
No,
That's our
oh god, we're 2 hours in.
What
Okay, I'll deal with that later.
say you?
We'll go without it for now. We'll aim for next week. This makes for a surprisingly good impromptu session. All right, so he looks at you, and he says, "I need that." And then this thing moves up to you. The fire chases after you.
Ah.
Okay. And it is going to try and attack you. Oof.
Oh.
Wait a second. What the heck? Hold on. That's not right. Because it should have... in combat... Unless you... That actually could be one on stat plug. Okay. Wow, that's interesting. I would assume that that would be better, but okay. I suppose not. All right. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do it that way. All right, so that misses you as a mote of fire just kind of lobs itself past you. And kind of screes. It is now your turn.
I think I'm gonna go with the safe option and toss the chip back to the Wanderer.
Okay. Make a ranged attack roll.
Ranged attack roll?
Yeah, so basically you're going to, I guess it would just be a dexterity check because you're not proficient with impromptu things.
Uh-huh.
So click on the word dexterity. At the, like above the number, the score. So like, not the one in the saving throw box.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
So here.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good enough throw. You toss it at him, and he grabs it. Unfortunately, the magic on his staff does indeed return. Okay. Also, since it's the top of the round, Wim. It's now been 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
5 minutes and 10 seconds? I mean, the commotion is... I can probably still hear the commotion ongoing.
Yeah, and you know, whatever sounds that people try to make, you can kind of hear the Wanderer's voice as he sort of raises his voice. You can't quite hear what he says.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
if I'm hearing the Wanderer's voice, I'm gonna assume that something has gone wrong, because Scratch was supposed to be stealthy.
Right.
So at this point, I think I try and join.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe I would make a noise, like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. we'll say you'll arrive because are you like running there or are you just casually walking?
I'm gonna run.
You're gonna run? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll say that you managed to navigate your inn next 2 rounds from now.
Okay.
Because a 5-minute travel would be 50 rounds. Okay. Scratch, you have used your main action to toss this thing. You still have a movement action.
I think I'm gonna move next to the. Wait, first of all, how many can I move again?
You can move
said-
30 if you're not trying to be stealthy.
I think I'll move next to the Wanderer.
Okay.
You know, be there to support.
Right. And now that you're kind of in plain sight, the wolf definitely sees you.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. Speaking of, this one's done, kind of chewing on its latest meal. It goes straight for you.
Oh boy.
All right. This hits you. Oof. All right. First, I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Oh, that's fear. Okay.
Yep. It's basically pouncing on you to knock you down. Okay. You manage to kind of repel it, but it bites into your shoulder for 8 damage.
Oof.
So, the way that these tokens work, you can kind of click the little bubble where it has your HP. You can either type -8 or you can do the math yourself. No. The green one.
Okay. Put -8. No.
Yeah, put it in the green bubble. Because green is HP. Yeah.
Oh, that's fear. Oh, that's the big
Oh,
fear.
Yeah.
Oh no, am I gonna fucking die here?
All right. This wolf sees that it's probably pretty good. So it goes after the Wanderer. He is hit. He needs to make the saving throw. Which he also barely succeeds at. But he takes a solid amount of damage. Okay. This wolf continues to bite at the Wanderer. That misses. The guard is dead. It is now the Wanderer's turn. So, you guys are in a bit of a pickle. Right. So, he goes to whack at the wolf right in front of him that was already hurt. And now that it has the proper magic on it. Oops. Okay. So, he casts Create Bonfire underneath this wolf. So a fire just like sprouts underneath it. Where is my fire token? Oh, we'll just do that. Okay. So it needs to make a save. Oh wait. Okay, so it takes some damage as it lights up. Then as a bonus action, he casts this. Mew recovers 7 HP.
Oh.
As a warm, comforting feeling kind of fills you. This thing comes up behind him. And it will use an ability. Okay. So you feel yourself you see some flames kind of sprout beneath you. And you get the feeling that it's going to push you and the Wanderer somewhere. Do you accept?
I do. I
Okay.
do accept.
So. Alright, so all 3 of you will move. Like so. Alright, and then the space that you just left as you teleport explodes. So all of these wolves need to make a save. And they all fail. Okay, so this guy dies. This one takes that much. And that one takes that much. Alright, Wim is still on the way. Scratch, it is your turn.
I think. Are we moving in like an attempt to flee, or are we moving just like to get away?
It literally just moved you guys to like not be in range of getting chomped on immediately, but you know that these wolves are going to give chase.
Can I? Oh, it doesn't say. I can't tell. I would like to throw my daggers at one of the wolves. I think.
Which one?
Hold on!
Oh.
I would like to throw my daggers at the wolf that is in front of the wanderer. Or like kind of like it's across from the wanderer.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. You do not get your sneak attack.
Oh, I should uncheck that.
Okay. Go ahead. That hits.
Oh, thank God. I need to... Sorry.
No worries. Mew? I guess she's dead.
I'm sorry. No, I'm here.
Alright, go ahead and roll the damage.
How do I...
Click on the name in the chat box.
Oh.
Wow. Alright. Would you like to describe how you kill this one?
I'm assuming I threw only one dagger.
Yep, one at a time.
Okay. One at a time? Okay. I threw them not at the same time. I threw them one after the other, and I let out a...
Well, you only throw one dagger.
I only throw one dagger? Okay. Yeah. I throw one, and I make a loud...
Alright, well, regardless, the dagger lands squarely in the center of this wolf's skull. It doesn't even let out a cry as it sinks into its brain matter, and it just kind of slumps over. Which removes that one, and that one. This one did not like that.
Ooh.
That does not hit you. Alright, so it goes to bite you again, but it doesn't. You're like prepared this time, and you narrowly step out of the way. By contrast, the Wanderer will move the flame underneath. Oh, whoops! This guy. So he needs to make the save. He passes this time. All right, Wim. My man, you show up.
Oh, finally I can play the game.
Finally, you've arrived.
All right, and you can take your turn before Scratch.
Okay.
I will say that your movement is spent because you like just got here.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna cast Ray of Frost on the wolf.
All right, go ahead and make the attack roll. That hits.
And then I click for damage.
All right, describe how you kill
it. Ring glows blue, and a small portal, not portal, but like a sort of a gap opens up, and from that a beam of blue shoots forth and spears the wolf.
Alrighty. So, now to describe the situation, you see the Wanderer. He's slightly wounded. And you see Scratch has been, well, scratched, but otherwise those wounds have been cauterized. And you see the same bonfire. It seems to be in the vague shape of some kind of animal. You're not really sure if it's like maybe a small Pegasus, because you see wings, but you see like feet on it too, or hooves. You're not really sure. It seems to be a creature made of fire that just sort of dances around the Wanderer.
Okay. So are we sort of back into a more social situation where I can start
Yeah.
doing
This
Okay.
is now like, we don't have to worry about turn order or anything.
Yeah. I'd like to ask Scratch to describe what happened.
Okay. Well, get this.
Wrong one.
Nice.
Wrong one.
Okay, well, get this. Guy managed to grab the chip, get in my hand, but boy, it was hot. It was like, oof, very hot in my hand. I almost wanted to drop it, but can't do that because that's a wimp move. It seems like it is connected to this little creature here. That's my explanation.
Are you gonna you remove what the whoa?
Yeah. So as
What are you doing?
As Scratch describes this, the Wanderer kind of solemnly starts moving over to one of the recently eaten to death guards, as the flame kind of zips around you in a figure 8 pattern. It seems much like the bonfire before when Scratch like was moving. It seems to like try and size you both up, but otherwise decides to return towards the Wanderer.
Right. So. Okay. Well, I guess I'd probably ask for follow up on did anything besides the fire, did anything interesting happen when you got the chip away from him?
Oh geez, I'm gonna have to jog my memory for this. Something. When you tried to cast a spell, the chip glowed, but then it stopped.
Did the spell succeed?
It did not.
So what I'm getting is that you got the chip away from him, and suddenly his fire spell powers are gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're big brain enough to know that when a spellcasting focus is removed from its caster, they can't cast spells. They just can't.
Right. So hold on. Am I able to know whether or not? So my current train of thought here is that the chip itself is a magical item, that may or may not be, like, for example, my first thought is that the chip is a magical item imbued with whatever this creature is, and this sort of creature is therefore, sort of guiding this fellow, and may or may not be the actual, like, this creature itself may be the elemental occurrence. Is that's sort of my line of thought?
So that does not seem to be correct to you, because the elemental occurrences appear to be on a much larger scale. You instead figure that this is kind of an effect. Like when the elemental thing hit the Wanderer, he probably gained the ability to have this thing. But as for the chip itself, you figure it's just a focus. It's just a magical focus.
It's just like a totem or something. Like,
yeah, it's no
catalyst.
different from the tools that you use to cast your spells.
Okay. Okay. So this guy at this point, at this point, I would say solidly that he is a victim, not a catalyst. Because what has been described to me as the range of his abilities does not seem large scale enough. For example, if he was powerful enough using this chip as his focus or whatever to cause incidents, elemental occurrences of the scale and magnitude required to be noteworthy and having reached our ears, there's no way that he didn't just smoke the entire we had two dead guards here, so he has to be a victim of this and not a catalyst.
That is a safe thing to assume.
So, unfortunately, for me personally, I'm not sure if I can piece anything further beyond this. I feel like more or less I have a solid idea of what has happened, but the cause and the reason behind it eludes me.
I will tell you now, you have pieced together everything that you could have.
Okay.
Like, anything else that you can conclude would be based on your own speculation. You have figured out the part of the mystery that was more or less like meant for you to solve for this.
Okay. Whew.
You will have to. Yeah. I mean, it took a bit, but
Yeah.
all right. So I will return to the main screen because this more or less ends the test roleplay session.
Did it?
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
So I saw that Mr. Weeb here was in the chat. How you gonna do us like that, man?
Oh no!
How you gonna do it? All right, you can go ahead and join the call if you want. So we can publicly shame you.
Oh. Hello.
Yeah.
All right. First of all, let me just say that this is the first D&D session that I've ever missed. I've never missed a D&D session in any of my campaigns before this.
All my homies miss D&D sessions. Oh, where'd you go? Hold on, I gotta go find you.
Because I was a no life.
Okay.
No, okay, my head was fucking pounding last night. And so my dumb ass I had set an alarm for 12 a.m. Not fucking noon, like I normally do. So I big brained and I made the alarm go off every Tuesday because I forgot I could do that.
Hold on, now I need to move me. What the heck? There you are.
You gotta do this so you can't reveal nothing.
Yeah. Oh no. Weeb isn't tall enough. Okay. So.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You didn't see anything.
Oh.
Alright. That'll work.
Oh,
Okay. Well, first of all, very disappointed.
Ah.
Glad that you could make the tail end of it when we more or less talk about. Though what we can do is we can talk about what time Weeb came on the caravan.
Oh, yes.
So why don't we go ahead and consult the map.
The map.
The map.
Well, go ahead and log on to the game too.
Oh, okay.
Quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Was this wolf attack an isolated incident, or were there more happening, like more attacks happening further along? Because the caravan's kind of
Well,
disjointed
yeah,
at this
yeah.
point.
So it's kind of an isolated incident. I more or less wanted to like. I at first I thought that there was like that you had basically given up on trying to figure out what was going on. The big part of the story was that the fire was sentient.
Okay, yeah.
Which you had said.
I
too.
did actually
realize
question
that
that, I think on
during
multiple
the
occasions.
combat, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you said that, but you didn't expand on that at all because incidentally, that's super weird. That's like not normal. People who
I,
make
I mean, I
elemental-
don't, I wouldn't know if that's that abnormal.
Well,
for this.
right.
I can shoot beams of ice out of my. Fucking...
So like, well, animating anything, like I was saying, is a pretty high level ordeal. Most people don't just casually make things, which is why like the create homunculus spell that you were talking about, it's like a 7th level spell. It's a big deal. The earliest you could conjure an elemental is usually spell level 4. So like somebody just having that is kind of a big deal, except this seems to be smaller. Like this elemental that the Wanderer seems to have control over is not as big or belligerent as most elementals. It doesn't seem to be intelligent, at least not any more so than like a familiar would be. But it is sapient fire, and that's like the big unique gag about the Wanderer.
Okay.
Yeah, he mechanically speaking, he's a druid, Circle of the Wildfire, which is from the newest book, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
I was about to say I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And so, as far as the campaign is concerned, that's not a druid circle. So he's possibly one of the only people who has this ability, and he is a hireable NPC to keep around when things happen. So, for Weeb's sake, we're gonna once again go over the caravan route. The caravan starts in Waterdeep. It goes south into Baldur's Gate, past Baragast here, into Amn, and it stays there for a little while, and then it goes to Greenest. Everybody in the campaign is part of the caravan, so you need to determine when you got on.
Okay.
And that will determine how long you've known the other party members.
Oh, okay. Well, I said I probably originated from Waterdeep, so I'm just gonna say Waterdeep.
Okay, so you and Miyu have been on, you and Scratch have been on the caravan the entire time, which means that by the time the event that just played out is over, it's been a month and a half.
Oh, poggers.
Yeah. So, you know that Scratch is a kleptomaniac. You have seen Scratch steal things and then try and resell them to pretty good effect too, as travelers kind of get on and get off. And I will let Wim describe himself again, like things that he might have done that you would notice. Like for example, he makes a point to like talk with people who kind of stay on their own. And also, I need you to describe what are things that you would do just kind of during your daily activity that you might otherwise think is weird, right? Everybody in the party has a pretty high passive perception, so unless you are like trying to be sneaky about something, they're probably going to notice you one of these days.
Okay.
So what might one of those things be?
For one, I guess, every time we make a stop, I would probably try to check the nearby area with my, I don't know, deity god powers to see if any of my followers are around.
The vast majority of places that you stop is like basically the middle of nowhere. It's like the side of the road. But like, yeah, in towns, you know.
In towns.
So you guys would know that this individual is a deeply religious person. Or at least appears to be looking for a very specific kind of church. Would you tell anybody what kind of faith you're looking for?
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty open about it.
Well, go ahead and tell them.
Oh, yeah. I never actually came up with the name for it yet.
Oh. Well.
Goodness.
Okay. Why don't you tell them basically what you're looking for, even if you don't have like a specific name?
Oh, okay. Church of an Ancient War God.
Okay. So he's looking into a war god, more or less.
Oh, Church of the King.
Church. I'm back. I can't believe you're gonna make me say that out loud. Okay. So he's looking for a Church of the King, which who has history trained or religion? None of you. Okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think any
All
of us
right,
do.
yeah. So you've never heard of this? Not a big deal. You have heard, however, of some people being a part of like really old religions, or sometimes they'll just make religions up for like tax evasion, is what it boils down to.
Scientology.
I mean, that basically that happens here. So you're not sure if this guy is one of those people, or maybe he like legitimately believes in something. I mean, he has priest-like attire, so he's either really committed to the act or it's a real thing. That just isn't very popular. So make of that what you will. Is there anything else about you, Weeb, that might be like particularly noticeable?
Not really. I wouldn't think so.
Well, do you like wear your armor and carry your weapon around all the time?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I do.
That counts. Okay, and you wear what? Chainmail?
Yes, I wear
Okay.
chainmail.
So this guy is pretty heavily armored, and I believe you have a shield too, right?
Yes, I have a shield.
Okay. Does your shield have your holy symbol on it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, please describe your holy symbol.
So my holy symbol consists of a circular outline. Within the circle, there's two swords crossed, and in the middle of the two circles is a crown. My crown.
We're gonna need a visual in the chat later. I expect.
Yeah, let me
Artistic
hand it
rendering.
over and I'll work up. I'll do some. I'll draw some magic.
Okay.
I
So-
don't have any.
Well, more or less, you guys get the idea that, you know, he's either really committed to the act or this is pretty legit. Because the shield is fairly large. It's a standard kite shield, and it's made of metal. And you know, you see the symbol kind of engraved upon it, which is very common for like extremely devoted paladins or clerics to do. Have you ever used your divine power at all during these almost 2-month travel?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Okay, so you both will also know that he's capable of casting divine magic. For the sake of Miyu, or at least Scratch, you know that divine magic typically makes the ouchies go away.
Oh.
Almost every priest you've ever met has the ability to heal. They also have the ability to curse things, or so they say. You don't know if that's true. I don't know how superstitious Scratch may be.
Would I happen to know if it can heal or curse things, or if that's BS? Oh, well, like the curse part.
No, it's totally legit. Curses
Okay.
fall under divine magic.
All right, cool.
Most priests don't tend to take stuff like that. They try to stay aligned to their deity. But, you know, if this guy's after a war god, maybe. So,
Oh,
but
no,
yeah,
he's,
it
he's,
is
he's-
totally.
he's actually a faith build from Dark Souls.
I mean, he
Faith
might be,
build.
though.
Oh, the worst. I got some bad news for you, Weeb. You can't build a good faith. There's no good faith builds. They suck.
All right.
Zero respect. Ugh.
So in combat, say if the caravan got jumped by bandits or a wolf attack, because that never happens, would you have used any of your divine powers there?
I would.
Okay. All right. So I will then catch you up a little bit to what just happened in the roleplay. We'll just assume that you like fell asleep or something, or you were otherwise indisposed. As I take you guys back to the main screen. Alright, so with you is a party member who is just called the Wanderer. They don't really remember anything about themselves or anything that's happened to them before about a week ago. Thus, they don't really have a name. Everybody just calls them the Wanderer, or, you know, that guy, or, oh man, it's that weirdo. He is the guy that just volunteers himself to go after firewood. He lights fires. He's really good with fire. He's not like obsessed with it or anything. He just lights fires. It's a thing that he does. And I don't know how often that you would talk with Scratch or Whim. or if they would reveal to you the information that this guy has a sapient ball of flame that kind of follows him around. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm wondering how because with Scratch and I, that actually was a very sensible and reasonable, believable sort of way that we would have met and interacted.
Right.
I'm kind of wondering how exactly we get caught up with Weeb.
Well,
Weeb, if you have any
yeah,
ideas.
yeah, you know.
I am an extraplanar deity. It's not uncommon for me to just boop, gone.
Well, actually,
Well,
hold on. Weeb, didn't you say something in the past about
Something in the
about your opinion of my character?
Right.
Was
Oh,
there kind of like
right.
So
there was something like
also,
that.
by the way, Weeb, what you're talking about would not happen. You can't
We're
do
not okay.
unless you have the spell
but-
Blink or Ethereal Jaunt. Right now,
Ethereal
as it is,
Jaunt.
because you manifested your power to like become like a physical being in the world, you don't have a lot of your power remaining. That's why you're level 1.
Yeah, right.
So you are functionally the same as every other mortal being until you level up
Okay.
and get more stuff.
No, but continuing on with Wim, yeah, I'm pretty sus because I have been to quote unquote the present before. So I'm kinda sus on your technology and stuff like that. I haven't been to the future, so I wouldn't know what blasters are and stuff like that. but-
Well, a thing to note is that Wim mentioned while you were like sleeping or whatever, that when he was hired onto the caravan, because you guys picked him up kind of like 3 weeks after the adventure started, he would make gadgets for people that needed them. And you would probably note that the way that he creates them, or like the things that he makes, are very like in the mindset of somebody who has modern technology, right? So like, you know, for example, if you guys were missing cooking pots, instead of just actually making a cooking pot, you know, he might make like a small Bunsen burner, you know,
Like a crock pot.
right?
yeah, that'd be really weird. Like, I know why I know this stuff.
Right.
why did
And
you
like
know this
nobody else
stuff?
thinks of that stuff because nobody's invented it yet. And so they largely revere Wim as some like crazy intellectual deity of like knowledge that must have researched some kind of crazy amounts of tools that nobody else knows how to use. And that's kind of how it ends up working out.
All right. So Weeb, you wanna kind of expand on that and flesh that out? We're more or less there, I think.
Yeah, we're more or less caught up with that. I mean, at some point, I'll probably have a talk with Wim.
Okay, that's the important part. Like that's
Yeah,
what I was
that's
trying to
what
fish
I'm
out of you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So-
no, I'm definitely talking to Wim as soon as we're alone about that.
Well, so-
About what specifically? Like about the event.
The modern
this is your show. This is your story. You gotta.
okay. So, in the month and a half you guys have that you're all together, like, if we assume that the opportunity presents itself once a day, do you do it as soon as possible, or do you wait any amount of time to see if he's like full of it? Like, you know, give me a point within a month and a half that you would try and approach him over this.
Oh, okay. Well, I would take about 2 weeks to see if he's full of it, and then that's when I would approach him about it.
Okay, so we can safely say that it happens in and for the purposes of just having a good time, I will give you guys a choice. We can say that the event that just happened is like quote unquote present day, and that maybe Weeb comes back literally like to the caravan like shortly thereafterwards. So we can continue this scene. It means that the stream will go probably for another hour and a half or so.
Ooh.
I'd be fine with that, but I don't know about.
Okay.
And he says,
I would have to say no because I'm like getting antsy over here. I think I'm about to reach my limit.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can
Sitting
say
in
that
place.
Scratch goes to bed because you got blasted and partially eaten.
Blasted.
Yeah, makes sense.
partially eaten. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you missed a lot. It was an encounter almost specifically made for the three of you to work together again, but you
I
know.
almost died.
I'm so sorry. But I can heal you now.
Well, she's basically full health at this point.
I'm going to go.
Okay.
I go bad.
All right. So to that end, we'll go ahead and say that, you know, Miyu, you can give your little outro and make sure to follow Miyu on Twitch.
Yes. Please follow me on Twitch. No stream tonight. I'm blanking. Follow me on Twitter. I think it's in the I think you put in
Yep.
your description.
It is in my video description,
Did.
but you know, make sure you guys do it anyway. I'll beat you up otherwise. Anything further?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah. It should
Oh, I didn't
be
realize it was that soon.
done by Friday.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
Hopefully, at least. But I will have the debut date very soon. But yes, I think this is where I take my leave. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Everyone, Oyasumi.
Oh,
And-
yeah,
Oyasumi.
Oh, I asked you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Get out of
Damn it.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rare for me to like go over stream time, but I do feel bad and I really like role playing. So we will go ahead and get right back into it. I need like
Back
okay.
to roll 20.
Yeah, we'll just. All right, let me go find the appropriate map. I will remove the Wanderer. And for whim's sake, I will say that the Wanderer, the flame spirit sort of extinguishes, but you still kind of feel its presence. You can gather
Okay.
that like it takes some kind of expenditure for him to like make it work.
Right. It's not free.
Right. So he will tend to Scratch, and then otherwise bids you a good night. So let me go grab a Weeb's token, and then I will put it down. Copy. Paste. Okay. And
Oh my
I will
goodness,
now...
I'm just scrolling up back through chat, and it's just constant arcana, perception, insight, persuasion, intelligence,
Hey,
insight,
that's
persuasion.
exactly that is exactly how social
Oh my
encounters
God.
go. Alrighty, mental gen. I will leave you two to it. For Weeb, I'll go ahead and say I'll kind of describe everything that I did before. So basically, the caravan is huge. It's like 40 some odd people, including all the guards. But in order to like mitigate the amount of bandits that like go to one spot, all of the carts are moved into different parts of a clearing. So you guys have like a bit of a coastline. You, the Wanderer, Scratch, Whim, and a handful of others, some of whom are now dead, because somebody took someone else's casting focus when they were trying to heal somebody. Imagine that.
No.
But you have now come back with
Yeah,
some supplies.
who would do such a terrible thing?
Yeah, he was trying to cast Healing Word, but rip. And then the guard got eaten. So, you have just arrived. The scene starts.
Okay, so I approach Wim. Right up next to him.
Of course. Are you gonna T-pose on me too? Really insert your dominance? Good lord.
Really, sir?
This man has no understanding of personal space.
Right up next to. Well, I'm trying to be quiet. All right, Wim. I've been watching you for a while, and I've I wonder why you know so much about.
No.
I need to mute. I need to mute.
Okay, Edward.
Oh my
You
god!
gonna fucking tell me to climb on Spider Monkey? Like, good lord, what the fuck
Oh,
is this?
No.
Can I not mute my microphone?
No, but why do you know about so many modern inventions?
So, hold on, just for clarity, is this the first time that you're sort of formally approaching me about this sort of stuff, or has this happened previously?
This is the first time I'm formally approaching you
So
about
this is the
stuff.
first time. So this is our first actual meeting.
Yes.
I would be confused, and I'd say, well, modern. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I simply invent things as an artificer and a member of the as a a prominent member of the Tinkers Guild.
All right. And I can respect that, but that's also a great cover for coming from the future. All right. Now listen. I have the ability, or had. I can no longer do this, but I was able to travel across worlds and universes and timelines. Now I've seen the exact stuff that you make in the year 2020 and beyond. All right.
Okay, so for
Uh,
context, Wim, right? You've probably
I
heard
feel like I've
people-
forgotten a part of Weeb's character because I'm
Well,
so lost right
No,
now.
well, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You should be. So
Okay.
So you've heard wizards and stuff say this to you before, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
well,
people saying that they can walk through dimensions and whatever. You've heard the whole Chiribio line, right? Like, I mean, you've even known some mages, like in Candlekeep, will like purposefully chant longer incantations for like otherwise pretty simple spells to make it seem more impressive, right?
yeah.
So him saying this is like weird, but not in the like what the heck is your problem weird. But
My response was gonna be, well, it seems like you've missed the fight. I'm assuming you just woke up. Are you still half asleep?
No, I'm fully awake. I've been awake for quite a while.
Are you hitting some of the bottles back in the carriages? Could
No.
have used a hand out here. Just saying.
So has he made any Bunsen burners or anything like that? Because I would name
so nothing
specific items that
I've
he's made.
nothing I've made is actually reminiscent of is none of it's necessarily reminiscent of meta here, but like real life stuff. Like I'm not actually making.
So-
I mean,
Yeah,
keep in
yeah.
mind, a Bunsen burner is a fairly simple concept. It's flammable. It's flammable gas pumped through a heated pipe or whatever.
Right. The only reason
Yes.
I brought any of that up is because like most people wouldn't even think to make stuff like that, even if it doesn't actually look that way. It's more that Wim has a very modern sense of thinking, like his approach and
Right.
solutions.
Okay. So that's the missing.
All
nuance
right.
for that.
Right.
There it is.
Go man.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's my design aesthetic. Speaking from 21 years of tinkering experience, as well as some practical hands-on, well, not hands-on, but observation on Quest of Adventures. I make things that I believe are useful, practical, and effective. So the form I choose is simply what I find most effective and most aesthetically pleasing.
Well,
I believe
okay.
you may be reading too much into this. I believe this is a coincidence, although I am curious about what sort of gadgets you are familiar with. Perhaps I can learn something that might improve my designs.
Well, I'm not sure. Okay, the caravans and the carts and stuff, they're pretty old, which is modern
Old?
here. But cars, there's different sorts of electronics. Like
What's a car?
what's a car? Ah, okay.
What?
There's also
I've been here for
space
20.
travel.
I've been here for 25 years. I've never heard of anything like that. What is that sort of thing?
I've seen people travel the stars, Wim.
As have I. I don't know what a car is.
Well, I don't need to explain what a car is if you don't know what it
I
is.
want to know. I'm curious now. Hold on.
Okay, well, a car
Is it
has
like a
something-
carriage? You
It's
mentioned
like
carriages.
it's got wheels, just like the carts and caravans and stuff like here. but instead it runs on a fuel, and it needs no horse, it needs nothing to pull it. It operates
Is it
itself.
imbued with magic?
No, it's not imbued with magic at all. It's all
Interesting.
entirely technology.
All right. Well, I'm noting that down in my little handbook. That's something I can potentially use. Anyways,
now I just want to confirm something real quick. Now, you as a character, based on your backstory, might actually know what he's talking about. I don't know if you're just putting on like a performance or whatever.
No, I mean, well, if you remember correctly, I am little more than a Build-A-Bear workshop, like
right.
Okay, like a house robot or something. Yeah, I don't.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I was.
I have a fundamental understand. I have a degree of fundamental understanding of what you would consider, relative to a medieval period, an advanced understanding of physics and chemistry.
Yeah.
But specific inventions and technology, not so much. It's just that I am equipped with fundamental knowledge that that has survived my crash landing in the middle of the woods.
See. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
No, I'm not BSing. I'm
okay. I thought you were putting on the world's greatest act.
Right? No, but now I'm about to.
I don't have deception skills high enough for that.
So you just casually accepted the fact that people travel the stars.
Well, yes, because I got here somehow.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's starting to make sense.
This is great. It's like we legitimately don't know each other's characters.
Yeah. Right. All right, buddy. So you've traveled the stars before, is what you're saying? You crash landed here from somewhere else.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge.
All right. Well, I can't.
I'm putting into my notes that Weeb is an odd fellow, but he steams a good ham.
Let me pull up my own notes. Notepad. No, wait. I have my notes. I just gotta pull up the saved file.
I'm actually putting that in there. Weeb is an odd fellow, but he steam a good ham. Say more. My house is on fire.
Revealed. He does come from.
I'm gonna look back at it tomorrow and be like, "What the hell was I talking about?"
I'm losing my mind, guys. This is the funniest thing ever.
Put that mute on.
I'm not gonna lie. In terms of like the fantasy world and technology, you sound like a tinfoiler. Like
Literally.
I've traveled the stars. I've seen the truth. I know what lies in the beyond. And the woman's like, yeah, buddy, all right.
Buddy, all right, yeah.
And oh my goodness.
That's why you were put in the caboose cart.
Back in the short bus.
Yeah.
Back in the short bus. Okay.
Oh goodness.
All right. Well, what did you use to travel the stars?
I don't remember that.
Okay. You don't remember that, huh?
Discombobulated. I crashed. I like the faulty. All I know is that it was a faulty travel methodology that was non-standard, as in it wasn't like I'm just moving physically. So it's a warp jump, but that's all that I know. I don't know the circumstances. For all I know, I could have been in some kind of vehicle that did like a warp jump, and then I was sort of separated, or perhaps I have that ability. I don't know. One does not simply warp jump and crash land into a big tree and retain all of the functionality.
One does not simply.
One does not simply. Shut up and mute. All right. I'm turning.
At this point, I think that I'm feeling a little bit. I generally, as a character, enjoy talking about my gadgets. I do enjoy talking about the tinkering and the theory, but I personally don't like to talk about myself that much, mainly because I'm aware that if people were that generally speaking, if people were to know that I am actually the ring and not the human homunculus or whatever, that it's not the best thing. I've been warned about that.
Yeah, it's
So-
real bad.
I don't
Real
like,
bad
I don't like
stuff.
the discussion lingering on me in particular for too long. So while I certainly do want to hear more about your cars, I'm gonna sort of tap into my understanding of Weeb as somebody who has experience with religion, with the divine, but more specifically with more obscure or potentially BS. But I'm gonna err on the on sort of a more optimistic note, the obscure. And so I'm gonna share the events that just transpired with him in hopes that he can perhaps provide some insight into it. So, meta for a second. Were you watching the stream? Are you aware of what happened?
I only caught the last bit of it.
Oh,
before I-
okay, so let me ask you this, Wim. Are you hiding anything? Is there any information that you are keeping?
The only information that I am really keeping to myself is the fact that I am the ring, and not the homunculus.
Well, no, I mean regarding the story of what just transpired.
No, I see. Simply because I'm not suspicious of Weeb as somebody who might have been a cause of the attack. Like I don't think that
Right.
I didn't believe that he ordered the wolves or something to attack people. So I find no reason to withhold information from him, particularly when withholding information could prevent him from providing me with
what you need to know. Right. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do you the honors because otherwise it would be terrible.
back in the forest.
Yeah. So basically, like I mentioned, there is a wanderer that is more or less nameless. The party discovered that he is a druid. Though, even though you guys know, I said the circle out of character. You have never heard of any druids that like specifically attune to the aspect of fire or really any element. Normally, they are very fond of plants and animals, and so to have something that basically destroys things is kind of weird. He seems to have immaculate control over fire to the point that if the fire itself appears to be sapient, spoiler alert, it is. There is a living spirit of flame that seems to follow him like a lost puppy. What else was there? Also, around this area of the continent, a long time ago, and if you have history or religion, you may roll to receive more knowledge about it, there was a great elemental bang. Like, basically like a Thanos snap, except it had fireballs and stuff.
Oh, I do have history.
You may roll history or religion. They will give you different results. Okay.
Whoa!
So,
Damn, what a waste.
I wouldn't say that. Okay.
The forest was lovely, very green, lots of trees.
All right, Weaver, you here still?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So I've given you advantage on this roll because of the nature of your backstory, because you were
poggers.
around when this happened. So, you are not the only one in your current predicament, so to speak. Actually, this happened to another deity quite some time ago who rapidly tried to manifest themselves into multiple places at once. And they were basically like a grand elemental. And
Am I
several...
privy to this information, just out of curiosity?
No.
Or is this internal to Weeb?
This is specifically to Weeb. Normally, in like an actual D&D game, if we had like 4 or 5 hours per session, I would like, tell you to come into a different room and stuff.
I'll just not pay attention. I'll work on my notes.
Right. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I assume he's going to tell you this stuff either way. But anyway, so you were around when this happened. The elemental deities tried to mix with mortality, which was pretty common for a lot of gods to do, walk among their followers. But the thing about elemental forces is that they're just that. They are forces. To try and push themselves onto the world basically just causes mass destruction. But the particular god of fire was not content to stop trying. And so he basically pushed himself into reality by forcing the elemental plane of fire. And this happened in the very far east. Right now, they call that place they call it Thay. And there is a group of people that worship it called the Red Wizards of Thay. They will. This is foreshadowing. That will become important later. But anyway, the elemental plane of fire did briefly appear on the planet, and it exploded. Of course, a few centuries later, the spell plague would happen, and then there would be similar effects going on. But yes, basically a grand fire elemental that was briefly revered as a god incarnated himself onto the world, and then very quickly was BTFO'd because the planet could not handle it. This individual seems to express similar qualities to that god. In fact, the fact that they lost their memory kind of makes you think that maybe they are this god, but they themselves don't know it.
That is okay. So I basically explained the entirety of that.
Okay.
To
Okay, that's unfortunate because I was deliberately not listening.
All right. Yeah, I was about to talk about it.
Give me the quick rundown.
I was about to talk about it. Basically, an ancient fire god tried to form himself onto the world, much like I am right now. But the world couldn't handle it, and he gone. Didn't end too well.
When you say he, could you describe what exactly that means?
He blew up. Quite in a spectacular display.
Couldn't handle it.
So
he blew up.
the whole thing about when I told you about the story that a long time ago there was a great explosion, this seems to match up with that.
Yep.
But that would be inconsistent with with my assumption of the Wanderer situation being recent.
It would.
Assuming my assumption is correct, which is why it's just not necessarily true. That's why it's an assumption.
Right. And that's the important part of that story.
And I try to tell. I'm trying to be as open as I can with Wim here. I'm trying to tell him.
You're doing so in the stupidest way I've ever heard.
Yeah,
By the way,
he is literally.
I'm a living god. Please believe me.
Yeah, right?
He is. So you know what? I always, whenever you watch an isekai anime, right? And the guy shows up and he's kind of oh well, no, it's supposed to be things are supposed to be like this, blah blah blah. To us, that it makes sense. It's natural.
Right.
But now I am truly on the other side of the equation. I'm like, what the hell is this absolute nutbag on about?
He's talking total nonsense.
Oh,
he's traveled the stars. He knows of this advanced technology that nobody's ever heard of. Also, he's a god.
Yeah, this is great.
I never thought that I would try to explain myself to a mortal. Okay, I never found myself to be here, but now I'm here.
Okay.
Look, whether or not you believe me is up to you.
Well, I will believe that you have a good heart. Maybe not necessarily a good head on your shoulders. I'm not quite sure about that yet, but yes, okay.
This makes me so happy.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I now have this information about. So what I would then also ask is, so the ancient fire god incident. This sounds to me. I'm trying to press for a little confirmation here. That something like that is highly irregular. So this is not if an occurrence like this is indeed related to our situation with the Wanderer. This is not something. This is something so unbelievably not commonplace that it would be
if you try to
irrational to think that this is another occurrence. So think about this, like what are the odds? Like how often does a fire god try to incarnate? You know,
Well,
probably
so-
like once in a
So
millennia. Like
there's actually like a missing piece to this that I don't think any of you could possibly know. I'll go ahead and tell you because the campaign doesn't go over it either. The Red Wizards of Thay, they got
The
really,
what?
really... The Red Wizards of Thay. They are a faction.
THAE.
Yeah,
AY?
THAY. You do meet some of them, but basically they are wizards that believe in the freedom of magic. So like things like blood magic and necromancy, they do pretty commonly. And they're typically
As in freedom to practice, or self sentience or something.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
If it's magical, they're cool with it. No matter how terrible it might be. So a long time ago, like a really long time ago, the Red Wizards tried to summon the elemental plane of fire. It's like an actual event that happened.
Summon the plane of
the
fire.
The whole plane of fire onto the world.
Why?
Well, they wanted to see if they could do it.
It's
Seriously,
Dumbasses.
that was it. And they were partially successful. It basically caused a crap ton of volcanoes to go off. But this is such ancient history that like that's why I gave Weeb advantage, because the nature of his backstory. He was there when this happened, but
3,000 years ago.
It was longer than that, but it's somewhere around there.
Referring to the meme.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, this was a super long event, or an event that happened a super long time ago. It never comes up in the campaign, and it doesn't actually bear any real relevance up until like right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's talking about is a real event that happened. So in reference to your question, the likelihood that something like this would happen again is close to never.
Okay.
As for the likelihood of whether or not a god would come down here, well, it's actually a lot of us want to do that.
God, I've never
Fucking
imagined.
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, I've never imagined a Chinibio trying to tell the truth.
You're right.
Oh man, that's funny.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I'm going to tentatively. I'm gonna file all of this under interesting, might be relevant, but there is no way I can sign off on this as definitely legitimate. Oh goodness. Okay, so nice chat, Coach. Let's.
Yeah.
I think at this
very
point,
nice chat. Yeah.
I feel like conversation probably ends. I think it's late. We go to sleep or something. Are we continuing this at all? Any more events or anything?
Well, this technically takes place about a month in the past, like as a prelude to the campaign. So if you guys have like anything, well, right, because the first session should be you guys start in Greenest. So by then, I mean, if you just want to briefly go over anything else that you guys would have talked about, maybe you reconvene. I just wanted to like establish like an actual roleplay scene between the two of you.
Yeah.
So you can get a feel of like yeah. So that
the government of this place is made of lizard people.
Fun fact. I actually
telling you,
pretty
man,
commonly
the
do
government is run by seagulls.
that. Oh god.
Seagulls.
It's seagulls. Why the hell do you think there are so many? They're in the cities too. They're not supposed to be in the cities. It's the seagulls. I'm telling you.
It's the seagulls.
They're behind it all.
Oh no.
The
this won't
seagulls,
work.
not the lizard people.
You'll see seagulls in Washington D.C. Why do you think they're there? Huh? They're running the place.
Don't you know birds are just drones made by the government?
That's why you get arrested for trying to kick them. Don't ask me how I know that.
Hold on.
No, I'm kidding.
I broke Wim.
Uh-oh.
We've broken.
Yeah.
Wayne Woken. Wait,
More like
how am I
body
broken?
broken
Oh,
because now
no.
Miu's gone.
I have ascended. Ah.
Alright.
Whoa. Big mode.
Make sure your ring's in the right place. Okay, it's close enough. Alright, good enough. Okay,
That's good.
so that will mark the end. That did not go as long as I thought it would have.
It was a good 3 hours and 15.
Oh wait, I
Yeah.
should probably put it into my notes.
Yeah, keeping notes is a good thing.
I have a
I'm
giant
tinfoil
.text
hat
file.
man.
Weeb is an odd fellow, but he steams a good ham. Perfect.
So, Wim, since you were there for the whole experience, what did you think?
I thought that was really fun. I really did enjoy the sort of investigative puzzle aspect of that social encounter.
Are you satisfied with the answer? Not just the ones that you came up with, but also all your little assumptions, how the reveals came out, and stuff
Yeah,
like that?
I think that, not to toot my own horn here, but I do think that I sort of, it was all very much in character. It followed, the character's line of logic. It made sense. There were good, reasonable assumptions made. There were logical steps in place and deductions as well, including the parts where I was getting stumped, because it wouldn't be totally crazy to forget briefly, things that I had kind of already gone over.
Right.
Information process, right?
No, I got you. No,
Yes.
well, I'm
Okay.
glad that you enjoyed it. I'm like, historically terrible with puzzles. And so like making them, I want to put like a little bit of mystery behind all of the NPCs. I have not only NPCs that are like obvious VTuber references, but I also have characters that I've played in other games whose stories
Right.
didn't really get resolved. So I'm I'm making sure they get resolved one way or another. And this is one of them. So I will briefly run this past you guys as the way that the party mechanics should work. Wim gets a bigger vote since he was here for the whole session, but Weeb, you technically count because you're here right now. So I have two main ways to do the party. One is you, like, anytime you guys make a like a major stop, you can like swap out your party members and they're just with you. You can only have a maximum of 5 people in the party, and then later I'll bump it up to 6. So there would be that option. Or you can do it in kind of the RPG style, where they're technically considered to be following with you at all times, but it takes and you can like swap between them. So that way, like during downtime scenes, you might say, hey, Kagerou, I want to roleplay with the Wanderer, or I want to roleplay with this person or that person. And then, I oblige accordingly. But like in combat, like every long rest, you choose which ones to take with you. And then the rest are just kind of there. And if you want to switch them out, it will always take 2 rounds to do so.
2 sessions?
2 like combat rounds. So that way you can't just like swap between people willy-nilly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I personally am not fond of the idea of an RPG party style system where they're there with us, but we just kind of forget about them until we feel like using them. I don't, from a role playing perspective, that feels a bit off.
Well, so
to me.
the idea would
that.
be like, when you travel around, with your wagon, you leave them at the wagon, and they otherwise prepare other things for you. So like, they might grab food, they might like, do some minor repairs here and there. They might go shopping and restock some equipment, yada, yada, yada. They do their own downtime stuff.
Even still, I feel like having these other sort of backup characters or NPCs there kind of takes away a bit from the significance of of the core party. I
Mhm.
feel like this. My personal preference would be that this is an adventure undertaken and focused on, the 4 or 5 of us, right?
Sure.
So I would, but that said, obviously we're going to be playing this campaign for what, like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
There should absolutely be opportunities for people if say myself or Weeb or Hebe or Miyu feels that, oh hey, like maybe Hebe decides to have a change of heart and she doesn't like eating people anymore, or maybe she wants to take a break from that and role play with it with a fundamentally different character.
Right.
I think one way to handle this is, this is a very big interconnected world. Some of the backup characters that I'm creating, well, one of them will probably more or less be canonically would make sense to sort of stay put in Candlekeep, but the other one, Brawl, it would not be unusual. It would not be unbelievable for us to happen across our path for our paths to cross. So
Right.
I think opportunities. I don't know if we kind of make this arbitrary or if we do this at key points. Well, that would be arbitrary. Or just we could decide. We could decide. Hey, every now and then maybe we run into such and such NPC, and you want to swap that with your main character for a little bit.
So
I would be totally down with that.
Here's the reason that I have this. There comes a point in the campaign where it doesn't make sense to swap characters anymore. But that said, your party does not have to be limited to the player characters. There are adventurers literally everywhere, and right now you're kind of at the power level where every other adventurer in the world is. And so I do this with all of my parties, and it usually comes out quite well because you don't have to use them, but you can. So one, I have them there for balance reasons. I don't like holding up session time if, like, for example, somebody doesn't show up, crazy that would ever happen. Yeah. And so I have these NPCs to basically fill in the spots that the player characters would otherwise have. So that way the people that did show up can do the thing that they came there for. And then usually I get a chance to reveal like a side quest or something. Basically, think of it like Mass Effect or Dragon Age, right? You will always have more characters than can join you on the battlefield at a given time. And I sort of balance encounters to be a little bit harder than the base book would, because your characters are made stronger than the standard player character, and also I like the challenge. To a point, I enjoy role playing too. It's actually my favorite part about D&D. So,
you get to be the DM version of the murder hobo, where you just try your best.
Sort of. I mean, being the GM means that I control all of the NPCs. But if you guys are like traveling, for instance, or what just happened, where you're talking with Weeb, I don't really get to do much. I just kind of sit there, and I'm like, man, So having an NPC to play as, means that I can play the game too a little bit.
Right.
So I like having NPCs. I do intend to have them, but like I'm more or less asking how much involvement do you want with them? Because again, each one has their own set of side quests and stuff. You can build like a quote unquote trust meter. It's not like an actual mechanic, but for example, if you went out of your way to like figure out the deal with the Wanderer, I have a special thing that happens at the end of the game.
Right. Okay.
So stuff like that. It's basically extra content for the sake of being content. You don't have to focus on it, but it's there.
Okay. So if it's being served up as more of a primarily a bonus content thing, I love bonus content.
Yeah.
Fuck
yes.
Let's do this.
I love bonus.
Okay. I was a little hesitant more from a gameplay perspective.
Right. No, I mean, obviously it's about you guys, and I'm there to tell the story. But again, having NPCs to replace a player character is generally a good thing. I don't like the idea of having backups be part of the party, though. I mean, if you're comfortable role playing as potentially 2 characters at the same time, Because again, eventually the campaign will get to a point where it doesn't make sense for you to like stop and pick up extra adventurers. So the people that you have traveling with you are the people that are traveling with you. You know.
Right.
So
I think that it would. First of all, I'm still fleshing him out, but I really like Brel as a character. I think that
sure.
one of the backups. I think it would be neat to have him along, just partially just in case Wim dies.
Sure. Which I mean, in the event that happens and the party can't bring you back, because remember there are two stipulations here. Permanently dying is not as big of a deal as it might seem. It's just expensive to bring you back.
Right.
So I mean, like at the earliest, if you guys can get to a high enough cleric within a minute of the death happening, it's 300 gold, and you're brought back. You know, later levels, you get to a point where, you know, you might die and you have a day to bring them back, and it costs like close to 1,000 gold. Which, for the record, that amount of money is not hard to make. It's
a pain, but it's not.
It's a pain. You have to like actively find ways to do so. You don't really happen across that kind of money all the time. So
right.
Death, like I try to like underline this, especially because this is a starter campaign. Death is not the end. In the second half of this campaign, you actually end like, unless you go out of your way to screw it up, one of the guaranteed friends you have is like the leader of the Life Cleric Guild. You can literally just get True Resurrection for almost free. So like you could be eaten alive where there's no body left and you can still be brought back, you know?
Poggers.
And they purposely do that so that you can do the epic heroic stuff and not feel like you get punished for it. Which is also why I have NPCs. You know, my last party hired a druid just to heal them. They paid her a good amount of money. They did her little side quest thing and learned that she was a runaway Fey princess. And so at the end of the campaign, one of them went down, and then she brought them back and then did like a mass heal thing. It was a big deal. It was super cool. Everybody was like, oh man, this is the best like 2,000 gold we've ever invested. And then at the end of the campaign, you know, the princess's mama came by and they had an extra fight. And one character got to totally change classes because of it. It was super cool. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's basically every NPC is basically a DLC. So how much you want to deal with them is up to you. Okay.
I would like Brel to tag along.
Okay. I'll think of something. We'll get there.
I still got to roll run the class stuff by you at some point.
Well, yeah. And for the time being, we haven't gotten to a point where they would be able to join.
Right. Yeah.
Again,
yeah.
I have 3 NPCs as part of the caravan, just in case people went missing. And to sort of introduce the whole party mechanic. One is, you know, a healer and supporter in the form of the Wanderer. We also have a fighter, and then also a skill monkey.
I see.
Yeah.
I thought I was the skill monkey.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they have a lot of different skills from you, and the way that they apply them is...
they're a bard, aren't they? It's bedroom skills, isn't it?
Well, what if they capture you in your ring, Wim?
Well, I can't say who they are, but they are definitely a skill monkey, or at least that's what they're intending to be. And their story, God, you're gonna like hear it, you're gonna think it's stupid, and then you're gonna realize it's really messed up. It's like one of those memes that's taken way too seriously.
Like Emergence?
Well,
wait.
No.
Hold on, wait.
Like so think of like genetically engineered cat girls as a meme, right? But then it turns out...
Oh no, they're a cat with human ears.
Well, no. That it would like turn out that, you know, there's somebody that's making this race of people, and you know, they're like forced to be slaves or whatever. Stuff like that, you know.
It's a bard wizard, isn't it?
Bard
Yeah, we know why he's making them. We know. Hold on.
I haven't even revealed who it is, or what they do, or what even their race is.
Come on. The guy is making cat girls. All right. We all know what's going on here. Nobody wants to say it, but we
Okay.
all know.
I do have a cat girl. They are not one of the NPCs that joins here. You can hire them. They are also a skill bot. But no, that is not the character I have in mind.
I see. Okay. Well,
The rest of the
I don't
party
believe you. But
turns
we'll
to
go,
women
I'll
weave.
go
Why'd
along.
you guys hire this girl? Cat girl.
Yeah, freaking Hebe's just gonna be like, "Hey, I'm a cat girl. Am I not good enough?"
No, you're
Wait,
evil.
I thought Hebe was a fox.
Hebe is a cat girl.
Hebe's a cat girl.
Hebe
Really?
is
Those
a
really
cat
strike
girl.
me as fox ears.
Oh, so Hebe herself is I think a fox. But her
Oh,
character is a cat
okay.
Her
girl.
character is a cat.
All
girl.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. Now I understand.
See, Mia's in the chat. No, I guess Hebe is herself a cat girl. She just has long ass ears.
Wait, it's the same
She
as
just has
me.
long ass ears.
Wait, Miu is a fox girl?
No, Miu is a
No,
cat.
Miu's a cat girl.
I am so
Okay,
confused.
all right. Hebe and Miu are both cat girls.
Hebe in Dungeons and Dragons and,
And-
Miu
and-
outside
no.
of Dungeons and Dragons.
No,
No, I thought what
so-
you were saying is that Hebe the VTuber is a fox girl.
so that's what I
Hebe
thought.
the
but
character is a cat girl.
that is incorrect. They are both cat girls.
Those are fox ears. I don't believe it. I don't buy it.
I don't believe it either. I've seen Hebe's tail. It does not look like a cat's tail.
Does not.
This is news to me too. So okay, no, Hebe is a cat girl.
All right.
In both in real life and in the game.
Yes,
Okay.
Okay.
I don't believe it either. But
I'll put it in my notes. I'll say
is a cat
He-
girl.
Hebe is a cat girl asterisk.
Asterisks.
Okay, but
Asterisk, and then below that asterisk, actually a fox girl.
Actually, a fox
all
girl.
right, I might have to change around my cat girl to fit with this. No, I have a bunch of fun stuff with NPCs.
Can I just say that I really enjoyed trying to explain to Wim, like a fucking super Chunibu trying to explain something to Einstein? Like, please believe me.
yeah.
I got fully into character there. I was like, a car?
I was
A car?
losing my freaking mind, dude. I could not stop laughing at how
Tinfoil
funny.
hat Chunibu.
You know, I was like, wow, is Weeb really just gonna like dead ass drop these like facts on Whim? So I looked at your stats, -1 in. Okay.
Yeah, right. I was thinking about the entire time. Like,
man.
and then I also manifested that into the conversation. Like, why would I ever? I never thought I'd have to explain this shit to a goddamn mortal, and yet here I am.
Oh my god. No, it was so funny.
I'm gonna have to watch the archive because I want to see that from a third person perspective.
You'll
I always
have,
watch the archives.
hopefully everybody can hear it over my hysterical laughing.
Oh,
Oh,
so you
God.
weren't muted. You weren't muted.
So
in the
I
stream, you were just
briefly
in
muted
Discord?
on Discord, and then I remembered that the stream wasn't muted, so I started turning down the volume of my microphone. So after a point, I become muted, but oh god, it was hysterical. I thought I was gonna start crying. It was so funny.
I was like -1 intelligence. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna try and straight drop facts on him.
Shit, bro, you got one in. God damn.
Nah, he's got I think an 8, but
Yeah.
I've got an 8.
Oh, -1 modifier. So
Yeah,
not even
yeah,
like
yeah,
like
modifier.
9. Like he
No.
actually minus. Well, standard's 10, right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
the way that we flavored it,
-2 and
the way that we
-1
flavored it is that I don't
modifier.
really I don't really know stuff much about the world because why would I care about mortals? That's the way that I flavored
That
it.
sounds like a cop out to me. That sounds that was like me in the Honey Pop stream last night trying to cover up how I got the light speed question wrong not once but twice. I was like, yeah, we don't use light speed travel. That's why I don't know that it's like 6 trillion miles per hour or per year.
Weeb, for the percentage of the session that you were here, how'd you like it?
Oh, it
All right,
was
moving
fucking
on.
amazing.
So what do you think about the NPC thing?
Oh, the NPC thing. I was actually for the just to make it easy so that they would be with us.
Okay. So you would rather them like RPG style travel with the party and then
Yeah,
kind of
RPG
just like
style.
be there if you really wanted to swap between them? Okay. I'll ask the rest of the squad later. But we'll see. Okay. With that said, that looks like we are good to end the stream.
Coggers.
Coggers. All right. Well, since you two are here, be ready to join. Say no. Let's Kagerou.
Let's Kagerou.
Yeah, we did it. All right.
All right, good stream. Oh, that was a long one. 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. God, I'm so tired. I was yawning for like the
Honestly, I could go for another 3.5.
Oh
Not
God,
even
no!
kidding.
Don't do it to me. No, God, I can't do it. No, please.
Unpause his stream. Yeah, okay, so we're actually gonna continue.
Oh my God, that's never gonna happen. Yeah.